reaction is pouring in from around the world and from leaders on both sides of the aisle, remembering President Carter for his many years of service. President Biden, speaking from the U.S. Virgin Islands last night, called Carter a statesman, humanitarian, and gentleman, and said he hopes his legacy of decency will carry on with future leaders.
That's Fox's Rebecca Castor there. Carter, the longest living former president. He died at 100 years old. The ball prepared to drop as revelers get ready to ring in 2025 in New York City's Times Square. Security also expected to be tight ahead of tomorrow's tradition.
As we wrap up tomorrow's festivities, we will make sure each one of those who come here to visit and enjoy the ball drop will be safe.
New York Mayor Eric Adams, 1 million people are expected to pack Times Square. President-elect Trump preparing to retake the White House in 2025. He's also throwing his support behind the Republican current House Speaker.
In a lengthy post on Truth Social, President-elect Trump says House Speaker Mike Johnson has his complete and total endorsement. The president-elect saying, quote, "Let's not blow this great opportunity which we have been given," and calls the speaker a good, hardworking, religious man. He will do the right thing, and we will continue to win.
Fox's Ryan Schmelz. Speaker Johnson facing a difficult vote as he tries to keep the gavel. Republicans will have just a razor-thin majority when the new Congress is sworn in later this week. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
A gloomy end to 2024. Partly cloudy and 49 degrees in downtown Indianapolis. Radar is clear, but you could get some rain before the day is over. Low temps to the mid-40s tonight. I'm Harrison Silcox. Here's what's trending at 3:02. It could be a rainy end to the year.
We're going to have another round of rain coming up here, probably from late this evening into Tuesday morning, and probably some light rain continuing through the day Tuesday. Not as much as this last system, but still another light to moderate rainfall for the area.
Alex McGinnis with the National Weather Service says temperatures will drop to start the new year, and you could be getting some snow by the end of next week. A heck of a start to 2025. 2 people were killed at a lounge in Indianapolis Sunday, and now the place might be shut down. Ryan Hedrick reports.
A double stabbing at the Havana Sports Lounge on the city's west side, which killed Tyler Amos and TJ Jordell Walker, took place inside the venue, raising the possibility for the lounge to be closed.
All things will be considered, and we review that, and we review the case and work closely with detectives and figure out, is this a problematic thing for the community?
IMPD Officer Tommy Thompson says the IMPD's abatement squad, which specializes in nuisance properties, will lead the investigation. Ryan Hedrick, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
Republicans don't have to settle for Mike Johnson as Speaker of the House. That's what Indiana Republican Congresswoman Victoria Spartz says.
I think there are a lot of other people are interested, but I think they don't want at this point to go to Speaker Johnson.
Talking with Fox and Friends earlier this morning, Spartz says she's willing to hear some of his ideas, but she's not sold on what Johnson brings to the table. The House is supposed to vote on its Speaker this Friday. Dictionary.com says their word of the year is demure. These Hoosiers are weighing in on how they feel about that.
Demure. I don't know. I just love the word demure.
Iconic.
I think it was probably the word. It was definitely the word of the summer.
Demure was not my word. It was amazing and grateful.
Merriam-Webster says their words most searched this year include polarization, along with totality, and, of course, demure. And former President Jimmy Carter passed away yesterday. Former Indiana Representative Lee Hamilton worked with him.
I enjoyed working with him because I like to see a well-prepared president, and he certainly was that. Carter was always well prepared.
Hamilton, now a professor at IU, talking to Wish TV. Carter died at the age of 100. You're 1 minute away from traffic and weather. It's 3:04.
Hi, this is Denny Smith for Exercise Inc. A lot of folks give up on their bodies in their 40s or 50s. Statistically, we gain 1.5 pounds every year past 50, and it's usually a tough slog to fight that. 19 years ago, I took a friend's recommendation, and I went to Exercise Inc. for one of their free consultations. Me? I didn't want to get heavy. I wanted to stay trim and in shape, and that was really a struggle. 19 years ago I went, and 19 years later I'm still going every week. They've helped me to reach and maintain my health and fitness goals, and they do that with specific strength training in only 20 minutes a week. You've just got to try this health and exercise approach, and the consultation is free. My guess is that, like me, you'll be skeptical for the first couple of weeks, and then it happens. You'll feel better. You'll probably lose some weight, and you'll probably look better, too. Go to Exercise Inc. today and sign up for a free consultation. Avon, Brownsburg, Zionsville, and Greenwood, now in Fishers, too. ExerciseInc.com.
With traffic in the 5s at 3:05. What's going on, Matt Bear?
What's happening, Harrison? Looking at eastbound 465, moving almost up to speed. A little bit of a slowdown from Keystone Avenue over to I-69. Everything into the north split looking fantastic at the moment. If you're running eastbound 70 towards the east side, Greenfield, no problems. Out of the north split, out to Shadeland Avenue, just 4 minutes. Traffic sponsored by Market District with locations in Carmel and Westfield. Discover the value of fresh at Market District. Find all the holiday season essentials in one place. Visit your Westfield and Carmel Market Districts to see how easy it is to be a foodie. I'm Matt Bear. Follow us for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
And the forecast from the American Standard Heating Weather Center.
Mostly cloudy skies today. We'll see one more mild day before much colder air moves in. We'll get up to about 49 degrees with rain showers developing after midnight tonight. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Tara Hastings for 93 WIBC.
I'm Harrison Silcox on the Level on the Go and on WIBC.com.
Hammer and Nigel.
Can you believe these characters are weirdos?
So let's... Hey now, I've kind of missed you guys, I'm not going to lie. Hammer, that's me. Jason Allen Hammer, that's my full name. Guy Relford, filling in for Big Nige. He's right across from me. Man, I missed you guys. It's weird. Like, I was on the beaches of Florida, sunshine, 80 degrees, but the whole time, Guy, and I don't know if you do the same thing, I'm thinking to myself, here's what I'm going to do when I get back to the station. Like, when I have access to this microphone again, here's how I'm going to make people laugh. Here's how I'm going to piss people off, etc.
Well, see, that's just what makes you a trained professional right there. But you know what? I saw a lot of your postings, a lot of your pictures, especially from Key West, and you guys had a wonderful vacation. That's fantastic.
I don't know about anybody else, but I admit, I'm a total tourist.
Oh, absolutely.
When I go somewhere, I want to see the things.
Yeah.
Like when we had a travel baseball tournament, when my oldest son was still playing baseball, we had it in South Bend, Indiana. Well, I want to see Touchdown Jesus.
Yes.
I want to see the Golden Dome. I want to see all that kind of stuff, right?
Of course.
And I want to buy the T-shirts, and I'm wearing a T-shirt now. I'm that guy. I'm Clark Griswold, if that makes sense.
You know what, though? If you go to some fantastic place, let's go back to Key West, where you just were. You go to some awesome place like that, and you've been seeing it in pictures. You've been seeing it in other people's posts. You've been seeing, scenes in movies. You've seen all this stuff. You're like, no, I want to experience all there is to experience, and part of that is doing the whole touristy thing. I totally get that. I'm the same way. It's like I don't want to come back from there and have 87 people. Not that I really care, but somebody would say, well, did you go see southernmost point where you're 90 miles from Cuba? And I mean, because I want to say yeah, and plus I want to experience that. I want to look off across the ocean and go, 90 miles.
Right. That's a little less than here to Cincinnati. Like,
exactly.
All that stuff goes through my mind.
To Cuba. And that's just kind of cool. So, no, I'm the same way. I want to experience all the touristy stuff. Now, when I've been in Key West, it's always been on a Harley. I've always ridden down there.
Did you drive across that long bridge from like Miami to Key West where it's like an hour over the ocean or whatever?
Oh, it's more than that. Yeah, you go through 8 Mile Bridge and the whole causeway all the way from Miami to Key West. That's that's like rated the number 2 ride in America after Pacific Coast Highway, and so I've done that 3 different times, and it's amazing. There are times when you're on this 2-lane bridge, like 8 Mile Bridge, and when I went across it, it was 2 lanes, one each way, and it's just ribbon of highway, and you're suspended over the ocean, and there are fish jumping out of the ocean. You're like, I am literally riding a motorcycle across the ocean right now.
That's pretty cool.
This is unbelievable. And you go through great little spots like Isla Mirada and all these little keys, Fish Key, and I don't even remember now. And they're great places to stop. Well, my all-time favorite biker bar was called Hog Heaven on Isla Mirada. And it had the best seafood on earth. Fishing boats would pull up, and you could see them unloading the fish. And the guys from the kitchen were out there, picking what fish they want, taking it back into the kitchen, and then 30 minutes later eating the stuff. It was just amazing. It was awesome. I loved the whole trip.
A bar like Hog Heaven, what would happen if you walked in there and you saw a jukebox and you played the Pina Colada song? If you like pina coladas, what would happen in hog heaven if you turned on the pina colada song?
You know what? Everybody's just in such a good mood and so happy in a place like that. You'd have half the bar chime in and start singing the song right along with it. It's not a hardcore environment. It's just everybody's having fun, and that's why I would go back in a heartbeat. That's why really I was envying all your pictures and your posts about Key West, because that's one of my favorite places on earth.
Yeah, man, it's little Cuba. I mean, you see chickens and roosters running around, feral cats, and we did all the tourist stuff. But it's good to be back, man. And I missed all you guys, and I missed producer Allison hanging out with you guys. Some serious news here. Former President Jimmy Carter passed away at the age of 100. And, man, hat tip to this dude, because he went into hospice care in February of 23. February of 2023 is when he went into hospice care, and my man, he was hanging on. Now, listen, I'm not going to sit here and act like his presidency was the greatest, because it wasn't. It was actually a dumpster fire. His presidency was awful, but he seemed like a decent guy. Now, some people would argue with me on that. He met with the Castro brothers. He did this. He did that. I get it. But honestly, when you look at some of the Democrats we see today, I think his heart was kind of genuine. He was just a bad leader. He was a bad president. But outside of the presidency, seemed like that's where his legacy was made.
No, I agree with that. I mean, you know, having lived through his presidency, the state of the economy coming out of the Carter years, it reminds you a lot, frankly, of Joe Biden in terms of somebody who came in with a decent economy and pretty much destroyed it through those liberal policies. And the thing that I was trying to empathize with at the time is the hostage crisis in Iran. And that was a tough thing for any president to try to manage. But you look back on it, and he managed that, I thought, always through a position of weakness. And that's not the way America negotiates. That's not how America deals with terrorists.
Right.
And Jimmy Carter portrayed, and listen, I mean, he was president of the United States, and I want to give full respect to the fact that the gentleman just died. But if we're going to talk about his legacy as a president, we have to acknowledge he was not an effective president, and he was not an effective negotiator in the context of the Iran hostage crisis, which to a large degree defined his presidency. That the economy in Iran, that's what defined his presidency, and you don't give him high marks on either one of those. Do I think he'd be an okay guy? Would I want to sit around and have a beer with him? Well, him and his brother.
Yeah,
Billy, right?
Billy would bring the beer for sure.
I would, and Billy had his own beer, right? Billy Beer, remember that?
Billy Beer.
But I would sit around and have a beer with Jimmy Carter in a heartbeat, back in the day. But he did not do well as a president, and I think we have to acknowledge that. And at the same time, have a lot of reverence and a lot of respect for the position he held, President of the United States, and I hope, that he gets all the accolades that he deserves as a former president.
I think multiple things can be true. You can say that his presidency was bad, but outside of the White House, I don't know how many former presidents have made that much of an impact the way Jimmy Carter has. So the Habitat for Humanity thing was a big success for him, and a number of other things. Like outside of the White House, you could make a case was really the legacy for Jimmy. This 4 years in the White House, from boycotting the Olympics to a horrible economy and everything else, that was pretty bad. The one silver lining, and I was talking to my boss, David, in the back about this today. If you remember when 3 Mile Island was going on.
Oh, yeah.
Jimmy Carter said, you know what? I want to go out there and check it out. I want to go out there and see it for myself. I want to get to the bottom of what's going on. All right, fine. That took some balls because they told him not to. And I started thinking to myself, would Joe Biden do that? Hell no. Because we hear all the time, like Joe Biden, Jimmy Carter, the worst modern president of, modern day.
Sure.
Who is it? Carter or Biden? And I go with Biden because there's no way Biden would have said, you know what, I'm going to go get to the bottom of this 3 Mile Island thing. I want to see it for myself. If I get melted, if I get blown up, so be it, but I'm going to go check this out for myself. Biden wouldn't have done that. No way.
No, he wouldn't have done that, and his handlers wouldn't have let him. And you never got the impression, whatever bad decisions that Jimmy Carter made, and there were a lot of them, and they had devastating effects on this country on a lot of different areas, particularly in the economy. But whatever decisions he was making, you always got the impressions at least they were his decisions. Maybe Rosalind was weighing in there a little bit,
right?
But you got the idea that they were his decisions. Joe Biden came in, first of all, to the extent he was even competent to make any decisions, they were all bad. He came in and tanked our energy policy on day one, and you saw the U.S. oil production. And somebody disputed me on this last week about what happened to oil production under Biden's first days. I posted the graph and showed it. He tanked U.S. energy policy, and he took what was the most flourishing, successful economy in the history of the world that he inherited. Now, I know COVID overlays all of this.
Right.
At the same time, he took the most successful economy in the history of the world and tanked it. And he tanked it not just because of the effects of COVID, because COVID had been going on for a while. He tanked it with his ridiculous progressive policies, trying to kiss the butts of the progressive, the environmentalists, et cetera. So he took a good thing and trashed it. Jimmy Carter just kind of created a steady decline through his years.
Jimmy Carter made bad decisions.
He did.
Joe Biden did it out of spite. Joe Biden made his decisions because Trump went the other way, and he turned his party over to these woke overlords, and that's what happens. Go woke, go broke. So that's why I always put Biden beneath Jimmy Carter when it comes to the worst presidents of modern day.
I agree.
Governor Holcomb has directed the flags in Indiana be flown at half staff in honor of President Carter until Tuesday, January 28th, 2025. Matt Bear, I missed hearing your sweet voice while I was gone on vacation. How the hell are you?
Fantastic, Hammer. Great to have you back, man. Looking at southbound 65 at West MLK. That is a crash in the right lane. Stopping traffic 221st. 4 or 5 minute delay. Also eastbound 465 on the north side slows Keystone Avenue over to I-69. Traffic sponsored by Straight Talk Wireless. Need more data so you can stream your jam mix on loop? Switch to Straight Talk and get real unlimited data on a reliable 5G network. Straight Talk available at Walmart or straighttalk.com. I'm Matt Bear. Follow us for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
Looking at the folks on the YouTube chat, yes, I did have some of the key lime pie down in Key West. Good stuff. Not going to lie, good stuff. Visited a number of different bars on that little strip there on Duval Street.
Yeah.
Good times, man. So
you should go to Sloppy Joe's. That's the famous one in there.
Sloppy Joe's and then Captain Tony's. Both
yes, of them. Nice.
Love both of those joints.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right now, we've got some sunshine, 50 degrees at the American Standard Heating Weather Center. And for those that have Twitter, maybe you've seen Pat McAfee just nuking the Indianapolis Colts.
Oh, yeah.
And I got to be honest, I haven't met a Colts fan that disagrees with anything that he's had to say. We'll talk about that next.
There she is, founder and CEO. High five.
Yeah. Dave can't stop celebrating with every business owner in town.
All right, Baker Man, high five.
He's sharing the excitement of big savings with the Comcast Business 5-year price lock guarantee.
Woo! Up top, bike shop. Yeah.
It's 5 years of gig speed internet.
Quick, high five.
5 years of advanced security.
5 years.
And 5 years of a great rate that won't change.
Yeah, law partners. Chamberlain, Messethorpe, Dubois.
All from the company with 99.9% network reliability. Switch today and get the 5-year price lock guarantee.
5 years.
It's back, but only for a limited time.
Woo!
Powering 5 years of savings, powering possibilities. Comcast Business.
Can't forget you, voiceover guy.
Ah, thanks, Dave.
High five.
Ends 3/9/25. Guaranteed rate applies to monthly service charge for new customers on qualifying internet bundle, excluding taxes and fees. Other restrictions apply.
Wealth-changing question. Has your advisor created a portfolio based only on your age and risk tolerance? That's simply not good enough. Your money deserves better, and so do you. At Creative Planning, our private wealth managers learn about you first, and then they create a customized plan and portfolio by partnering with our in-house money managers, accountants, and attorneys. Don't settle for a standard portfolio. Book your free meeting today at creativeplanning.com. Creative Planning, a richer way to wealth.
Hey, Mom, I've been meaning to talk to you about some new COVID information I saw online. I read that 3 out of 4 adults in the United States have a high risk factor for severe COVID-19. And black folks like us with certain conditions like diabetes, heart disease, mental health conditions, or being 50 and older are at high risk.
Boy, you sound like a commercial.
I'm just saying. I know you love your ginger teas and essential oils, but remember, there are treatment options for COVID-19.
I promise if I get sick again, I'll call my doctor to ask about my options.
So this new dose is, well, nope, that's not it. The price is nowhere to be found.
Mr. Green? Hi, it's all good. We've got this.
This is not just help from a Walgreens pharmacist.
Oh, new prescriptions. Cool. Let me check to see if these are the lowest cost options covered by your Medicare plan.
Oh, that's great. Thank you.
This is someone supporting you every step of the way. Chat with a pharmacist today to find help saving. This is the human kind of help. Walgreens.
All right, listen up. And now, let's go live to a press conference with Colts owner Jim Irsay.
Moving forward with, again, look, it's...
This has been a press conference with Colts owner Jim Irsay. That's so not cool.
Hammer and Nigel.
What a mess. The Indianapolis Colts are a hot mess. When I say dumpster fire, some people just, take that for what it is. But physically in your mind, close your eyes, imagine somebody throwing a match and gasoline into a dumpster, pushing it down Meridian Street. That's the state of the franchise for the Indianapolis Colts right now. It's Hammer and Nigel show. I'm Jason Hammer. Guy Relford is in for Big Nige. The worst team in the league, Guy, the New York Giants. Not just my opinion, statistically.
Yep.
Going into that game yesterday, they had the number one pick in the NFL draft, the New York Giants.
Right, averaging 14 points a game.
14 points. And they had already cut their starting quarterback.
Right. Backup quarterback.
Guy that was I think at one point in the season, the third-team quarterback, and they put a 40 burger on the Indianapolis Colts in a game where the Colts had to win to keep their playoff hopes alive because they'd gotten some help over the weekend. The Bengals winning that game helped the Colts. So they were still very much in the mix here. And to give up a 40 burger to the New York Football Giants, boy, I thought that game against Denver where Taylor dropped the ball before the goal line and the stupid flea flicker play was the low point. But that game yesterday proves that if you lift up the bottom of the barrel, there's a whole new level of embarrassment there, Guy.
Yeah, I've been going to Colts games since they moved here in 1984. I've seen the Colts play in, I think it's 28 different NFL stadiums. I've traveled with them. I've watched them. I've studied them. And, there are low points you can certainly point to. I think yesterday is one of the lowest. I really do. And it was because, there are sometimes the Colts just haven't had the talent over the years. Sometimes they haven't had a quarterback. They haven't had an offensive line. They haven't had whatever component you need.
It's one thing to stink. It's another to quit.
And yesterday's game to me just rang of people who just showed up and expected to win and weren't willing to put in the effort. And the tackling was atrocious. The effort was atrocious. We were at one point within a touchdown at the beginning of the second half. First of all, we give up a kickoff return for a touchdown.
Yes.
I'm sorry. How often does that happen under the new kickoff rules? Secondly, after that, we come down, score, and I give Flacco some credit. He had 3 turnovers, which were all painful, 2 interceptions and a fumble that he lost. But we were also scoring. And so all of a sudden, you think we might have a chance, and they throw this little screenplay. Womack comes up and has this guy square in his sights, and just whiffs on him, just runs past him.
It's bad.
Barely got 2 hands on him. Dude goes 70 yards for a touchdown. And all of a sudden, we're down 2 touchdowns again. And I'm watching this, and I'm going, these do not look like people playing in the NFL that care about the outcome.
Right.
And that's harsh. For me, I'm not the guy who goes on social media and whines throughout the whole game. Oh, we suck. Oh, we're terrible.
That's Nigel.
It's hard to look at social media when the Colts are playing like that. But I'm not that guy. But I watched that game yesterday, and I was mad. I was angry. I was angry that people are getting paid that kind of money, that we have assembled a team that I think is fully capable of winning. And I'm not as near as down on Richardson as a lot of people are, not nearly. I think the guy can come back and be a quality starter in the NFL. Am I predicting that? No. I'm open to that possibility, and I think we ought to give him the chance. But yesterday was a lack of effort. And yesterday was an arrogant, lazy team that showed up and expected to win, and they got their ass handed to them, and I'm still angry about it.
People need to be fired because of what happened yesterday.
Yes.
And that's the real reality. And if you
Exactly.
remember earlier in the year, some of the Colts, air quotes, stars on defense, Zaire Franklin and some others, they've got this podcast they do. And they were ripping media people like Pat McAfee, former Colts players, got a very popular national program now, ripping Pat McAfee for saying you aren't a real Colts fan. You don't know blah, blah, blah. Well, how about you focus a little less on Pat McAfee and a little more on the field? And McAfee went on Twitter last night.
Epic.
And this was what needed to be said. Again, if there's a Colts fan that disagrees with anything Pat McAfee has said, hit us up at this show and let us know, because I haven't encountered one yet. Now, I'm going to read you some highlights. It was like a 5-6 paragraph rant about what was going on. Here are some highlights, and I posted this on our Twitter, @Hammer and Nigel, and the screenshots on our Facebook page, facebook.com/Hammer and Nigel. Quote, I've said what I believe to be the truth about this team, and a bunch of Colts fans, air quotes, on the internet were trying to get me booed out of the city. Current players who have won nothing during their entire tenures started using me and my face to try to paint me as the enemy in the city that I've committed my life to. And in the end, everything went just like I bleeping said it would. In the biggest moments, everybody with a brain knew they'd crack, and they did. McAfee goes on, quote, a blind person could see the red flags on this team. Work ethic questions. Never happens on good teams. Preparation commitment questions. Never happens on good teams. Late to meetings. Never happens on good teams. Late to skipping treatment. Never happens on good teams. The franchise quarterback tapped out of a game on 3rd down in the red zone because he was tired. That's never happened in the history of the NFL. So McAfee pointing out some of the ridiculousness that's going on in the organization. And later on in this rant, McAfee points out, I'm just a punter, but I'm up for Hall of Fame consideration, and I've played with Hall of Famers. He was in the Peyton Manning locker room when Pat McAfee came in the league. And even if you weren't Peyton Manning guy, let's say you were one of the veteran guys. Let's say you're Ryan Deem. Let's say you're, Tarek Glenn, Dylan Gandy, one of those guys up front. You don't put up with this kind of nonsense, but the folks in this Colts locker room do. And that was what Pat McAfee was pointing out. And to me, the biggest thing that Pat said in his long rant, which again, you can see on our social media, he says that as a multiple year season ticket holder, I'm not renewing. That's how you get the attention of the Colts management. I don't know who's calling the shots right now. I don't know what kind of position Jim Irsay is in right now, if he's healthy, if he's sick. I think since we're paying for the stadium, we should probably know, but we don't. But if you have lost Pat McAfee, as the Colts organization clearly has, you've got problems.
You do. And it feels like, and you said off the air, Jason, and I completely agree with you, that kind of feels like the Joe Biden presidency, which is you're wondering, who the hell's in charge over there right now? Because obviously Jimmy's had his issues, and when he talks, a lot of times he's not particularly well stated or even coherent. And so you wonder who's calling the shots, because is there a legitimate case? And listen, again, I'm not the guy that goes out on social media and goes, oh, fire everybody, fire the coach, fire Ballard, fire defensive coordinator.
I volunteer as tribune for that one on this case. I'll volunteer, guy. I'm raising my hand on that
I'm
one.
not the one who every time they have a bad performance, I go out and say fire everybody. But right now, do I think Chris Ballard deserves to be fired? The answer is yes. Do I think Gus Bradley, defensive coordinator, who orchestrated the loss in a team overcoming the biggest lead in NFL regular season history in Minnesota, who just played the soft zones, and we got a big lead and watched the team come roaring back. Almost happened against Tennessee last week. 38-7 we were ahead and only won 38-30 and had to convert a couple of third downs late in order to keep, from having to defend.
It got dicey.
It got dicey. Who does that? Gus Bradley does. And it's been going on for years and nothing changes. So I'm at the point now where I think people need to be fired. I think they need to, and this is really the point of Pat McAfee and your point, the culture needs to change. Right now, it's an entitled, lazy culture. Every game I watch.
People that haven't won anything.
They haven't won anything, so what are they so comfortable with?
Like if the Kansas City Chiefs all of a sudden decided to pull this crap, well, they've won multiple Super Bowls.
Yeah,
okay.
they can show you some multiple rings and say, okay, I can understand why you're satisfied. This team hasn't won anything, and right now I'm totally comfortable with the idea of firing a lot of people and trying to change the culture, because McAfee's number one point in everything you just read, which I completely agree with, is it's a soft culture right now, and you know what, you don't win games. I watched a lot of NFL yesterday, and it looked like every single team I ever watched all day yesterday was busting their ass trying to get a win, and you didn't get that feeling from the Colts.
Nope. Final line from McAfee's epic post, quote, "I've never seen a group waste opportunities, talent, and money more than this group." Pat McAfee, my man, thank you for speaking on behalf of Colts fans. It's the Hammer and Nigel Show.
The holidays are over, and the new year is here, making it the perfect time to think about the future. More specifically, it's the perfect time to think about your financial future. Right now, Howard Bailey Financial is offering a free retirement toolkit, a comprehensive guide designed to help you plan, save, and jumpstart the retirement you deserve. To get your free copy today, text FUTURE to 888-262-1104. and download your free retirement toolkit. Start 2025 off with a gift to yourself, filled with all the tools you need to plan for a positive and purpose-filled future. Just text FUTURE to 888-262-1104 to start planning today. Make this new year your year to invest in yourself and secure a brighter tomorrow, starting today. Howard Bailey Securities, LLC is an independent financial services firm and uses a variety of different investment strategies. Please see disclosures at howardbailey.com.
Tech scams, identity thieves, data leaks. Hearing about these online threats every day can be stressful. But don't worry. McAfee Total Protection is here to help you live a worry-free life online. What does worry-free mean? Well, it means you won't have to wonder if that text message is a scam, if new threats will pop up on your PC, or if you're safe from identity theft. Visit McAfee.com/online protection today to get award-winning online protection for just $39.99 your first year. That's McAfee.com/online protection. Cancel anytime. Terms apply.
Hammer and Nigel here for Window Nation. I was so sick and tired of my old windows during the winter. There was condensation, there were chilly drafts coming from my old windows. Once I got new Window Nation windows installed, that all ended. And now during Window Nation's year-end sale, you can get 50% off all style of windows with a bonus 10% off.
Make 2025 the year you take care of your house. And that starts by calling Window Nation, 866-90-NATION, or visit windownation.com. Hurry, the sale ends December 31st.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Temperatures will drop. Sunny and 50 degrees downtown. All clear with the radar low of 44 tonight. I'm Harrison Silcox. Here's what's trending at 334. Get ready. It's about to get really cold.
We're definitely going to have a progressively colder trend in temperatures. It's going to be most noticeable, actually, when we turn the page to January, with highs on Wednesday only in the 30s, maybe spots like Lafayette not even getting to freezing on Wednesday.
Alex McGinnis with the National Weather Service says rain is expected to start later today and continue into tomorrow. Republicans don't have to settle for Mike Johnson as Speaker of the House, according to Indiana Republican Congresswoman Victoria Spartz.
I think there are a lot of other people are interested, but I think they don't want at this point to go to Speaker Johnson.
Talking with Fox and Friends earlier this morning, Spartz says she's willing to hear some of Johnson's ideas, but isn't exactly sold on what he has to offer. The House is supposed to vote on his speaker this Friday, a few days to sort things out there. The Washington Post As reported that Joe Biden has some regrets during his time as president. One of those is about bailing on his campaign for re-election. Fox's Lucas Tomlinson reports.
Biden reportedly has another regret as well from that Washington Post piece. Quote, Biden has also said he should have picked someone other than Merrick Garland as Attorney General, complaining about the Justice Department's slowness under Garland in prosecuting Trump and its aggressiveness in prosecuting Biden's son Hunter. What would have not likely helped Biden's re-election chances are these newly released photos showing Biden shaking hands and posing with Chinese businessmen alongside Hunter and his business associates during a December 2013 official trip to Beijing when Biden was vice president. Biden has long denied any involvement in his son's overseas business dealings.
Many Hoosier dignitaries are remembering the life of the country's 39th president. Former Indiana Senator Joe Donnelly says Jimmy Carter's legacy after he left the White House is staggering.
His whole spirit, what he said is, you always feel the best and know that you're doing your best when you can be helping others.
Republican Congressman Rudy Yoakum said Carter was devoted to humanitarian service and causes that lift us all up. At the age of 100, he passed Sunday. You're 1 minute away from traffic and weather. It's 3:36.
Can you believe the year is almost over? Completing tasks before the end of the year can help you start fresh and organized in 2025. It's time to address the things in your home you've been ignoring. If you have any drywall cracks, cracked bricks, floor and wall gaps, uneven floors, sticking windows and doors, or bowed walls, Indiana Foundation Service knows that all of these signs point to major damage building up in your foundation, and it will only get worse over time. Don't worry. With a free inspection from Indiana Foundation Service, the team's experts will identify your home's issue at the source. You'll want to get ahead of these problems sooner rather than later. Visit IndianaFoundation.com today to book your free inspection with a no-obligation quote included. Indiana Foundation Service. There's a reason they are the trusted local experts.
Indiana Foundation Service. Reliability from the ground up.
And with traffic at 337, here's Matt Bear.
Stopped coming into downtown because of a crash. Southbound 65 at West Street blocking the right lane, and traffic jammed up back to MLK. That's a 32-minute delay. South side vehicle fire on eastbound 465 at Arlington Avenue. It's on the shoulder, and we are slow past Emerson Avenue. I'm Matt Bear. Follow us for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
And the forecast from the American Standard Heating Weather Center.
Mostly cloudy skies today. We'll see one more mild day before much colder air moves in. We'll get up to about 49 degrees with rain showers developing after midnight tonight. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Tara Hastings for 93 WIBC.
I'm Harrison Silcox on the Level on the Go and on WIBC.com.
The only way to bag a classy lady is to give her.
It's Monday Gunday with the gun guy.
Just watch out for the guns. They'll get you.
Guy Relford.
Stop calling your arms guns.
The Hammer and Nigel show.
Got a little bit of the remix there. All right. Jason Hammer here. Guy Relford filling in for Big Nige today. For those who may be listening for the first time, Guy Relford is a criminal defense attorney, but also a 2A specialist, has written some of the laws here in Indiana when it comes to firearms, a firearms instructor, and more. Guy, how are you?
Man, I'm great. And for Monday Gunday, I want to thank our sponsor, which is Premier Arms in Brownsburg, with the largest selection of new, used, and historic firearms in the Midwest, and PA Jewelers located right in the store. Check them out at 3754 South Green Street in Brownsburg or premierarms.com.
So it feels like we have this conversation every year, but there's a reason why we have it every year. Morons keep doing it. We got the new year getting ready to flip coming up this week, Guy, and I promise you that on December 31st at midnight going into January 1st, there are going to be morons taking their guns outside, fully loaded, and firing them off into the air.
There will be, and it breaks my heart for a number of reasons. One is because it puts responsible gun owners in a bad light. And every time people do knuckleheaded things with guns, then you have people out in the community, you have legislators say, here we go. We got to pass laws. We got to restrict these people's rights under the Second Amendment because they can't responsibly exercise their Second Amendment rights. And then you have people who don't understand a couple of things. One is when you fire that round off into the air, you're firing a projectile, a solid projectile. I don't care what kind of gun it is, whether it's a shotgun, a rifle, a handgun. You fire that into the air, you're putting a projectile up into the air. Gravity will take effect over that projectile at some point, and it's going to return to Earth.
Right.
It's going to do so depending on the shape and the weight and a number of other factors. It's going to come down at a fairly high velocity, and it's fully capable of hurting people.
There was a kid from northern Indiana a number of years ago that was, I believe, just shooting baskets in his driveway. It wasn't New Year's Eve, but it was just shooting baskets in his driveway when one of the projectiles came from the sky, landed on him, and killed him.
Yeah, it could easily happen. And there's something called terminal velocity, which is when the gravitational pull on an object equals the drag from, it falling through the air, and it no longer accelerates, and it'll only fall at a constant speed. But for a lot of projectiles, handguns, rifles that you put in the air, that speed that it comes down at is plenty enough to hurt somebody or even kill them. So don't do that. Secondly, it's not just a matter of personal responsibility, because if the police catch you, they will prosecute you. You're in any kind of a populated area, certainly in a residential neighborhood. You go out on the back porch, the back deck, and fire a bunch of rounds into the air, and the police can identify you. They will charge you. I know I've defended this case multiple times. I've done it in the context of people firing off rounds on a holiday like New Year's Eve. I've done it where people have fired a warning shot and don't understand the ramifications because you're endangering anyone in the area when that round comes back down. You will be charged, if they catch you, with criminal recklessness with a deadly weapon, which is a felony.
Okay, so let me ask you this, because you're an attorney, I'm not. We've all agreed that it's morons that do this kind of thing, right? That fire their guns in the air for celebration or New Year's. But as a criminal defense attorney, you said you've defended these cases. What's the defense for that?
Well, the defense is, and listen, please, anyone, don't take this as some kind of justification for going off and doing this incredibly knuckleheaded thing. The defense is that the prosecution has to identify a particular individual who was endangered. So they can't just say, well, you generally endangered people, or you endangered hypothetical people that may have been in the area. To get a conviction for criminal recklessness, you typically have to say, okay, based on the trajectory of that round and where that round went, you endangered, Jason Hammer and et cetera, who were in their homes and, and present and could have been hurt by that round you fired. And so I've won a lot of those cases. I always give the people a lecture to say you got lucky here because you were a dumbass.
You're lucky I'm a damn good attorney.
Exactly.
That's what it is.
But the way the law works, and a lot of lawyers don't know this, there are case law out there that says you have to identify particular individuals who were endangered. So a lot of times, you take the deposition of the police officer and say, all right, well, who did this endanger? Well, the people in the neighborhood. Great. Who's that? Give me a name. Well, I don't have any names. Well, did you go interview the people in the neighborhood? No. Did you see who was home and who wasn't? No. You can't identify any particular individual who was endangered. No. I win, you lose. So I'll do that on behalf of my client, but I'll never let them out the door after we win that case without a lecture to say you're a dumbass for having done this to begin with. And here's a copy of my book, oh, by the way, Gun Safety for Dummies, which will tell you never should have done this. By the way, I had a potential client. This guy did not hire me. But one year, this guy got prosecuted for doing exactly what we're talking about on New Year's Eve, rounds in the air. And he's explaining to me, he goes, I don't understand. I didn't endanger anybody. And he goes, how could they charge me with a crime? And I explained the same thing we're talking about here. Well, that gravity takes over, round comes down, you endanger people that are nearby. And he looks at me like I'm the biggest idiot in the world. And he goes, no, man, you don't get it. Those rounds burn up on reentry.
They burn up on reentry. They've gone up to the International Space Station.
Yeah.
They've gone up to the moon.
Yeah.
And they're coming back into the Earth's atmosphere.
Yeah, and I'm like, no, man, that's not how that works. That's not how any of this works.
As a matter of fact, I'm no longer your attorney.
Well, he didn't hire me because he didn't like the fact that I was explaining to him that he actually did endanger people by doing that. So, but yeah, the message here is not to get embroiled in the legalities. It's your original point, Jason, which couldn't be more important, which is please don't go out, fire your gun in the air. You're making gun owners look bad. you are endangering people around you when that round comes down, and it could very likely get your ass put in the Marion County lockup or whatever county you happen to be in.
Right.
Put your butt right square in jail if you go out and do that. So please don't do that.
Monday Gunday with Guy Relford here, keeping our eye on the state of Louisiana. Louisiana being sued in federal court over non-resident carry license ban. So this is a lot of moving parts here. Explain this to me. What's going on?
No, I was excited to see this. And there's a group out there called Firearms Policy Coalition, and they do some great work in the courtroom. I'm a big fan of this group. You know, a lot of people, I'm a lifetime member of NRA. I will remain that. A lot of people are a little disillusioned with NRA. FPC, Firearms Policy Coalition, Gun Owners of America, these are great groups to be a member of. FPC has filed a lawsuit against the state of Louisiana because they won't allow non-residents to get a license to carry in Louisiana. And somebody could look at that and go, well, okay, I don't really want a handgun license from Louisiana. Why should I care about this lawsuit? It's because it's based on the idea that you have an inherent right under the Second Amendment to not only keep but bear arms. And if you have a right to carry a firearm, why can a state arbitrarily deny you of that right within their state? And it was just not so long ago, we had an opinion from the U.S. Supreme Court that actually dealt with gay marriage, the Obergefell decision. And it went through and just said, not only do states have to issue marriage licenses, but every state has to issue has to recognize every other state's marriage license for gay marriages and otherwise based on equal protection under the 14th Amendment. And I read that and I went, well, why doesn't that mean every state has to recognize my license?
Right.
And why does that mean that New York can say I can't exercise my Second Amendment right when I cross the state line? And I would love to see a Supreme Court of the United States opinion that says that no state can deny me my right. If I have an Indiana license, that should be recognized in every state. This case, even though it just has to do with Louisiana and the fact that they don't allow non-residents to get licenses, if this works its way up and goes to SCOTUS, Supreme Court, at some point, that could get us a Supreme Court decision that says every state has to recognize my license. I love that.
Even states that don't have, license to carry, let's say Illinois, for example, our neighbors to the west here, in theory, this potential decision would say, okay, I get that this is not your law, but it's the law in Indiana, so you have to honor the law in Indiana.
Well, and just recently, and we haven't talked about this, Jason, but in the last few years, the last holdouts, Illinois and the District of Columbia, have been forced by the courts to issue licenses. So all 50 states and District of Columbia now issue licenses to carry. The issue is whether they have to recognize any other states. And I've said all along, look, President Trump just came out recently and said he would support a national reciprocity bill to require states to recognize everybody else's license. And that's great. And if Congress passes that, I'll cheer it all the way and be thrilled. But what Congress grants, Congress can take away. And what I'd much rather have is a Supreme Court decision that says under the Equal Protection Clause and the Due Process Clause of the 14th Amendment, every state has to recognize my license as a matter of constitutional law. That way Congress can never take that away from me. This case in Louisiana could actually result in that happening.
If somebody has any questions 2A related, or maybe they want to hire you, how can they find you?
Really through the website, relfordlaw.com, or go either on Twitter at Guy Relford or on Facebook. I recently got reestablished after getting booted on Facebook.
Same.
Also at Guy Relford. So give me a follow or contact me through the website, relfordlaw.com.
Monday Gunday with Guy Relford. This is the Hammer and Nigel Show.
Risk tolerance is a big deal. Risk tolerance is knowing what you can lose on an investment. Very important with a new administration and new fiscal policy coming in. Matt Bear here. Hi. The fiduciary advisors at Trajan Wealth are ready to help. Call 317-480-4040 or visit TrajanWealth.com to schedule a complimentary consultation. Trajan Wealth understands the importance of tactical investments and tailored insights for growth in line with your risk tolerance. They are constantly checking and evaluating the markets for you, and in tandem with you, they'll develop a wealth management plan that reflects your values. As a fiduciary, They always have to act in your best interest. That's security like that. That's peace of mind. Call Trajan Wealth at 317-480-4040 or visit TrajanWealth.com today. Advisory services offered through Trajan Wealth LLC, an SEC registered investment advisor. Paid advertisement.
Pat Sullivan here for the Michaelis Corporation. I'm here with Michaela to talk about water damage. Water damage at your home or business can come from heavy rains, broken or frozen pipes, and countless other ways. Michaela, if someone has a loss due to water, why should they call Michaelis?
Michaelis is a local, family-owned Indianapolis company with 39 years experience. We are manning the phones and ready to help 24/7, 365. Michaelis specializes in water damage restoration, is IICRC certified, and will restore your home or business to pre-loss condition or better.
I know a big part of getting back to normal is dealing with the insurance company. Can Michaelis help there?
Yes, Michaelis works through the entire process on your behalf to make it easy and give you peace of mind.
If you have water damage, call the Michaelis Corporation. Water, storms, fire, and mold, life happens. Michaelis happens to help you through it. Text or call 844-FIXED-INDY. That's 844-FIXED-INDY. Make it Michaelis.
Join Mark Patrick Seminars and lose the weight guaranteed. Early bird special only $49.99. Hypnosis to destroy unwanted cravings, late day eating binges, boredom eating, stress eating. Also, stop smoking with Mark Patrick without cravings, irritability, weight gain, or your money back. Seminars January 23rd at the Holiday Inn Express in Noblesville. Weight loss seminar 5:30, stop smoking seminar at 8. And January 25th at the Holiday Inn Indianapolis Airport. Weight loss seminar 11 a.m., stop smoking seminar 2 p.m. Register at markpatrickseminars.com.
William is one of millions of Americans who uses GoodRx to save on the cost of their prescriptions.
My oldest daughter, Camilla, 2 days old, she had to have open heart surgery. All of a sudden, she's on 5 different medications. It adds up at the end of the month. Me and the pharmacist got so tight. She said, GoodRx save you a lot of money. Saving that extra $200-300 a month. We're able to do all these extra activities, so it puts less stress on our household, and it puts less stress on our pockets.
Download the free app or visit GoodRx.com and start saving today. GoodRx user compensated for their time. GoodRx is not insurance, but can be used instead of insurance.
Thinning hair? This year, grow your hair back like I did. Call 317-522-2995 or visit WeGrowHairIndy.com.
Never miss your favorite shows on WIBC. Get your content to go.
Would you like fries with that?
Tony Katz, Kendall and Casey, Hammer and Nigel, Tony Kennett, The Gun Guy, Home and Garden. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
All right, Matt Baer, what's going on?
Crash southbound 65 downtown at West Street. The right lane is closed and traffic is stopped to MLK for a 17-minute delay. Also on the south side, eastbound 465 at Arlington. Vehicle fire on the right shoulder. I'm Matt Baer. Follow us for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
50 degrees. We'll take it at the American Standard Heating Weather Center. Monday Gunday, Guy Relford is here. One thing I forgot, kind of wrapped up the segment a little bit, but I totally forgot to bring this up. There was a story in the Washington Times about a black gun activist who says that the ATF raided his home to scare legal firearm owners. Do you know what I'm talking about here?
I know exactly what you're talking about. And listen, this guy is an activist. He's got a podcast. Yes, he's a black gentleman, and he part of his message is that urban Americans, black Americans, both, because he lives in an urban area, that Second Amendment rights are as important to them as to anyone. Right. A lot of times they're in a situation where they need to defend their lives and defend their families.
Isn't it weird how 2A has just become like a white man type of thing?
Oh, yeah.
I promise you, there are some folks that live on 38th Street. There are some folks that live on Martin Luther King that are law-abiding citizens that have a gun to protect their family just like any other white dude.
Absolutely. Business owners and, responsible members of their community. I mean, it's not divided by demographics. It never has been, but that's how it's attempted to be portrayed by the people that want to destroy your Second Amendment rights. They say, oh yeah, well, the NRA is just a bunch of old white dudes. And being an old white dude, it's hard for me to dispute that, right? But here, here's a story where a guy's an activist. He has a podcast, talks about Second Amendment rights a lot. And yes, he owns several firearms. He does podcasts, talks about the firearms that he owns. ATF showed up at his house with a warrant and gutted his house, seized his phone.
The fact that they got the warrant is a problem in itself, right?
It is.
The weaponization of the Justice Department.
And get this, ATF does this a lot. The warrant's sealed, so we can't even see what the basis of the warrant is, or even what it even covered. But they turned his house completely upside down. They took his phone. They inspected all the firearms that he had. This goes on for hours, by the way. ATF shows up at your house. It's not a short experience. They check all the serial numbers on all his firearms. They get through all of this. They end up leaving. They don't arrest him. They don't seize any other property. They just take his phone. And he is out there right now on social media and otherwise saying this was purely an intimidation tactic because they don't like the fact that the law-abiding minority member of the community is out there advocating for Second Amendment rights. And the takeaway I take from this is that this is not unusual, Jason. I've had ATF cases. One right now I'm still fighting. They showed up and they seized over 200 firearms from this guy's collection. Never charged him with a crime. There's no crime for which they could charge him. I made that very clear to them. They won't return his guns. They're saying, no, these are civil forfeiture. Sorry, you're done.
Civil forfeiture? What's that?
That's a process ATF can use to take your property.
That sucks.
Even though no criminal charges were filed. And so we're going to have to fight them on that. And this is under the Biden ATF. And my fondest hope, a lot of people have a lot of hopes, and I have a much longer list than this, but within my personal bailiwick of Second Amendment rights, what I want to see, I want to see the Trump administration, if not completely disband the ATF, put an administrator in there who's willing to gut it in terms of these kinds of unconstitutional practices, fire a whole bunch of the bastards who were out there doing this kind of stuff, and restore a little respect for the Constitution, because right now the ATF is a rogue agency that needs to get shut down.
Got about 30 seconds left. How much of this is an ATF problem and how much of this is a woke judge problem? Because the judge had to sign off on that warrant.
That's a really good point. But you know what? Judges they're going to believe if ATF brings them a probable cause affidavit, in an application for a warrant, the judge is going to accept what they put in that application. So I don't necessarily blame the judge, because I think they're going to accept what ATF gives them. There's some of that, but to me, it's the agency. The agency has the responsibility.
That is Guy Relford filling in for Big Nige. When we come back, right after the news at 4 o'clock, the city of Indianapolis, over 200 homicides again. See if you can guess which TV station thinks that's progress. We'll talk about that next.
Where can you kick off the new year with big savings on gig speed? Only with Xfinity. Now through January 16th, get gig internet at home for $25 a month for 1 year when you add an unlimited mobile line, which connects you to gig speed Wi-Fi on the road. Act fast today and save more than $650 over AT&T and Verizon in your first year. Plus, hurry and take advantage, because right now you can also get a free 5G phone with trade-in. So save big and stay connected to what you love with fast gig speed internet and mobile. From home to hotspots, this new year, it's all about gig speeds and big savings. Don't wait and get gig speed internet. Spend less green and switch to Xfinity. Go to Xfinity.com/gig savings to learn more. Requires paperless billing and autopay with stored bank account. Restrictions apply. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra. $40 internet discount applied to mobile bill. After promo, regular rates apply. Actual speeds vary. Savings compared to Verizon Fiber Gig Plus 1 Unlimited Welcome Line and AT&T Fiber Gig Plus 1 Unlimited Starter Line. Xfinity internet required. Reduced speeds after 30 gigabits of usage per line. Data thresholds and actual savings vary.
After this hypnosis, I want to eat good food.
Since August, I can honestly say I have not had one potato chip.
It was life-changing for me.
And I don't think about desserts like I used to.
Bridget, how much have you lost now?
I lost a total of 83 pounds.
Holy cow.
It's easy, it's fun, very relaxing, and very successful.
And I would just say go for it.
What are you waiting for? Join Mark Patrick Seminars and lose the weight or stop smoking guaranteed. Early bird special only $49.99. Hypnosis designed to destroy unwanted cravings, late night eating binges, boredom eating, stress eating. Seminar Thursday, January 23rd at the Holiday Inn Express and Suites, Indianapolis Northeast and Noblesville. Weight loss seminar 5:30, stop smoking seminar 8 p.m. Or Saturday, January 25th at the Holiday Inn Indianapolis Airport. Weight loss seminar 11 a.m., stop smoking seminar 2 p.m. Registration 30 minutes before. Sign up at markpatrickseminars.com. That's markpatrickseminars.com.
Coming up in 2 minutes, you could be getting some snow in about a week. 2 people that were stabbed to death outside of a lounge in Indianapolis Sunday. And an Indiana politician who does not want Mike Johnson voted as Speaker of the House later this week. Those stories coming up after Fox News Radio from the Technology Recycler Studios. You're listening to 93 WIBC, WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 4 o'clock.
Tributes and services. I'm Deborah Valentine, Fox News. From peanut farmer to president to Nobel Prize-winning humanitarian, tributes pouring in for former President Jimmy Carter, who has died at the age of 100. Former Carter Secret Service agent Nick Steen on Fox.
Decent is a great word to describe him. He was at heart a good person.
Fox's Jared Halpern reports.
Flags will fly at half staff for the next 30 days, and President Biden says a funeral for former President Jimmy Carter will be held on January 9th at the Washington National Cathedral. That day has been deemed a national day of mourning. Carter died Sunday at 100 years old. The 39th president is also expected to lie in state in the Capitol Rotunda. 12 U.S. presidents have lain in state. The most recent was President George H.W. Bush in 2018. In Washington, Jared Halpern, Fox News.
President Biden and Jimmy Carter were longtime friends when then-Senator Biden becoming the first Democratic senator to endorse Carter's 1976 run for president. New York City officials announcing tight security measures for the New Year's Eve celebration in Times Square. Fox's Nate Foy reports.
1 million people are set to come here to Times Square to ring in the new year tomorrow, starting at about 6 o'clock. And the NYPD and federal partners are sparing no resource, ensuring that everybody has fun and that no security threats emerge, at least doing everything they can. Of course, always during large gatherings, they're extra careful. But the NYPD Commissioner, Jessica Tisch, said the Israel-Hamas war has the NYPD on an even higher alert. New York State Police, National Guard, and the New York Homeland Security team will all be working together tomorrow night.
In addition to security measures, revelers may also have to deal with rain, which is in the forecast. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
It could be snowing a week from now. 50 degrees, partly cloudy on the circle. Your radar is clear. Tonight's low down to the mid-40s. I'm Harrison Silcox. Here's what's trending at 4:02. Forecasters in Indianapolis are keeping an eye on a potential winter storm. Ryan Hedrick reports.
The timing and precipitation type are in question, says Alex McGinnis at the National Weather Service in Indianapolis.
The closer it gets in time, obviously, the more confident we are. And it looks like the timing would be something around the Sunday to Monday time frame.
He says in between now and Monday, we could see a little bit of snow mixed with some very cold temperatures. Ryan Hedrick, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
2 men were killed in a double stabbing at a lounge at the west side of Indianapolis early Sunday. IMPD officer Tommy Thompson says police were called to the Havana Sports Lounge just as the men were rushed to the hospital.
They had located what appeared to be a crime scene. Coordinating with the officers downtown and coordinating with the officers on Southwest District, it appears with detectives' information that this is where this occurred within that venue.
The Marion County Coroner's Office confirmed that Tyler Amos and TJ Walker are the two who died at the hospital. Police will check if the attacks were captured on any security cameras as part of their investigation. You might have seen President-elect Donald Trump endorse Mike Johnson as House Speaker, but Indiana Republican Congresswoman Victoria Spartz isn't sold. John Hayrick reports.
In an interview with Fox and Friends Monday morning, Spartz said she's not sure that Johnson has the country's best financial interests in mind.
We have a Titanic on the crash course with the iceberg, and our country fiscally is going to have a disaster, and this is a fault of Congress.
She says Johnson's track record shows he does not do enough to stop reckless spending. The vote for Speaker is scheduled to happen this Friday. John Herrick, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
The word of the year for dictionary.com is demure, but these Hoosiers say there were plenty other of words that should be getting noticed.
I also use slay way too much. I mean, you can use it ironically, you can use it literally, you can use it in literally any situation.
I like John. It's a good word.
Health.
I really don't know. I don't think I had a word for the year.
Merriam-Webster says some other most searched words for them were polarization and totality in 2024. You're 1 minute away from traffic and weather. It's 4:04.
Did you know the Social Security Trust Fund is expected to run out of money in less than 10 years? And according to Barron's, an average couple could lose up to $16,500 every year in Social Security income. Multiply that by 10 or 20 years, and it could easily add up to hundreds of thousands of dollars. That's why it's critical you have the right strategy to file for Social Security. Discover how you could squeeze every nickel out of your benefits with a free, customized Social Security analysis. It's from Bill Demery, your retirement guy in Indy. We trust Bill, and you can too. If you've saved more than $200,000 and have not filed for Social Security, schedule your free analysis by calling 317-648-5120. Call Bill at 317-648-5120.
With traffic on the 5s at 4:05, here's Matt Baer.
Southbound 65 at West Crash cleanup continues with the right lane blocked. Traffic jammed up back to MLK for a 12-minute delay. Vehicle fire cleared on the south side, eastbound 465 at Arlington Avenue. Traffic sponsored by Unbound.org. A girl in Kenya dreams of becoming a doctor. An elder in Guatemala dreams of being part of a community. Reach out and change their world, and it will change your own. Unbound.org. I'm Matt Baer. Follow us for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
And the forecast from the American Standard Heating Weather Center.
Raining at times tonight with temperatures down to the mid-40s. New Year's Eve will feature on and off showers and breezy winds. There's potential for some snowflakes to mix on Tuesday night. Temperatures will fall from the 40s to the 30s. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Stephen Deanna for 93 WIBC.
I'm Harrison Silcox on the Level on the Go and on WIBC.com.
Hammer and Nigel.
Can you believe these characters are weirdos? So let's rock it!
So this is New Year's Eve. Happy to be with you guys. My name is Jason Hammer. Guy Relford, the gun guy, filling in for Big Nige. What is your program on the weekends, Guy?
Mine is Saturdays 5 to 7, the Gun Guy Show.
And you, I'm sure, when you're talking about firearms, often dive into public safety in the city of Indianapolis, right?
Sure, absolutely.
Whether it's from a pro-gun side or a negative gun side. It's a big part of conversation, right?
Oh, absolutely. And, we talk about citizens defending themselves. I've had a lot of members of law enforcement on to talk about how private citizens and members of the law enforcement community can work together, keep everybody safer. And, a lot of times people think gun owners and law enforcement have to be antagonistic. No, not at all. If you're approaching it the right way, we approach it the right way, and law enforcement approaches it the right way, which doesn't always happen. It can be a great collaboration in terms of keeping people safe.
Well, unfortunately, the city of Indianapolis, in terms of public safety, is over 200 homicides again. This is the 5th year in a row that the Circle City has broken the 200 homicides mark, which the Hogshead administration and Ryan Mears, they always claim, well, this is because of the population growth. There are more people coming to Indianapolis, and when there are more people, this is just part of the growing pains of a major metropolitan city, which is bullcrap, by the way,
yes.
Because at some points in the year, now, it might not be this way right now, but there are points in the year where our city, which has about 3 million people less than the city of Chicago, outpaces Chicago in homicide rate per capita. So you're probably asking yourself, why is that? Why is this the case? Well, I point the finger back to the justice system here in Marion County, where it's violent, repeat offenders out on the streets doing violent repeat offender things.
That is exactly it. And when you talk to law enforcement, and listen, we've both had Rick Snyder, president of FOP, on our shows. You have him all the time. He's been on my show several times. I've been on his podcast. And
Doug Carter, the superintendent of the state police.
Absolutely. I consider Doug a friend. And when you talk to law enforcement officers, invariably they say the same thing, which is they get really frustrated because they're tired of arresting the same damn people who are out there committing violent crimes in Indianapolis and elsewhere. But they arrest them, they put them in jail, and the system cranks them right back out onto the street. And a lot of times they haven't even been to court or haven't even had a trial for their last arrest. They're wearing an ankle monitor, but they're running around committing more crimes. And that's because there's a huge problem in Marion County with the fact that there's nobody monitoring the ankle monitors.
Right.
And
there was a guy dead in a tanning bed in Greenwood for like 3 days before people realized, oh, yeah, that guy had an ankle monitor on.
Exactly. And eventually they said, well, gosh, it's pinging back to this Planet Fitness. They went and they looked around and they asked the people in the Planet Fitness. They said, no, he left. And that was it. And that dude was dead in a tanning bed the whole time.
Right.
So you don't think you can go out and commit crimes with an ankle monitor on? I mean, come on. So this is the problem. And then for this, people that are already being prosecuted for, existing violation of existing law, or people are already have warrants issued for them, they're out committing more crimes. People say, well, the way we need to fix this is to pass more laws.
No.
How incredibly ignorant is that?
No.
When we're obviously not putting people in jail for violating the laws that we have.
I don't know what the question is, but if the answer is more government, then it's time to go back to the drawing board.
That's always the wrong answer, no matter what the question,
Always the wrong answer. So the reason we bring this up is that this is the 5th year that Indianapolis is over 200 homicides. There's a local TV station that feels like this is progress.
Yeah.
WTHR, Channel 13, kind of doing a victory lap on the fact that as of December 29th, their numbers show 205 homicides in the city of Indianapolis. That's down from 2016's number. Now, 2016 was the biggest number that we've had. But because it's down just a little bit, I think it's like 7 at this point right now, Guy. And I sent you the screenshots because I took a picture of my phone and I texted you the screenshots.
You did, yeah.
Channel 13's basically doing a victory lap. Homicides down in Indianapolis. I was waiting to hear that Barry Manilow looks like we made it when they put that graphic up. Now, to be fair, the story where they talked about this, they're interviewing Reverend Harrison, and he's saying, this is not okay. This is not something we should be celebrating. 200 homicides in a city like this is not okay. It is a top 5 of all-time record. And just because it's down a few, mind you, with a few days to go, don't count out the fact that we could still get there with a few more days to go here in Indy. That's not something to celebrate. A top 5 all-time number, you don't get to do a victory lap on that, do you?
No, you certainly don't. And listen, it wasn't that long ago, Jason. I'm an old guy, so I tend to compress time in my memory. But wasn't that long ago, we were all very upset that we passed 100. And it was a big deal to go, wow, we had 100 homicides in Marion County. That's horrible. And now we're over 200 and we're celebrating that? I don't get that. At the same time, the fact that the numbers are slightly coming down, certainly from an all-time high, I think you mentioned 2016. One thing I also have to throw in here to the discussion is we just passed constitutional carry in 2022. And they went into effect mid-year 2022. So we barely have, a year and a half of experience under our belts. Didn't we hear from law enforcement, from politicians, from anti-Second Amendment advocates out there? Didn't we hear from everybody that everybody's going to shoot each other now? We're going to have that, and the homicide rate is going to go through the roof, and it's going to be blood in the streets and the wild, wild west. I mean, literally, those are the terms they used. Right. I'm not making this up. Wild, wild west, blood in the streets, and the fact that even though the numbers are still way too damn high, we've passed constitutional carry, and the number's actually coming down since we passed that. You don't hear a lot of people putting that together. And oh, by the way, WTHR, they were leading the campaign to talk about how dangerous constitutional carry was going to be. Where are they on that point?
Right. That's a great point. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but 2016, that was a year where there were a mass shooting or 2 here in the city of Indianapolis. Now, I can't remember when Greenwood was, but I don't think that counts in Indianapolis anyway. These are numbers for just Indianapolis only. But in 2016, 2023, 2016 homicides.
Yes.
Okay? So in 2023, there were 2016 homicides. And during the same date this year, we're down just a few. It's not like we're down 20. It's not like we're down 30. Let's pump the brakes a little bit on homicides are down, celebration. No, that's not the case.
And at the end of the day, isn't really what this is just campaigning for the Hogshead administration? I mean, isn't that what it really is?
Well, that's all like stations like Channel 13 do.
That's
right?
my point.
They carry the liberal water.
That's my point. So it's like, oh, look, the liberal administration here who's, churning violent criminals right back out onto the street. They didn't set a record this year, so let's all go around and break into a round of applause.
Right.
I mean, I don't get that.
And listen, you guys know how I feel about Channel 13. Like, I hold grudges. I'm petty. I'm bitter. And the fact that I was right and they were wrong about the whole Atterbury thing makes me smile. And the awkward thing is there are some good people that work over there. Like, I've got some friends that are decent people that work over there, right? Folks that I, could have a beer with and be fine with. But the leadership of that station, this once proud station in Indianapolis, they should be ashamed of themselves.
Well, I got your back on that because I don't know how much you know about this. I get calls from reporters from WTHR all the damn time, and they'll say, we want to talk to you about this shooting, and we want to talk to you about gun safety. And I'm like, oh, this is WTHR? And they go, yeah. And I said, have you given Jason Hammer an apology yet? and I always have sometimes I feel a little bit bad because a lot of times it's some kid who's just been hired right out of broadcast journalism school, right? And they're like, well, who's Jason Hammer and what the hell are you talking about? and I'm like, well, and I tell them the story. I tell them about Atterbury, and I tell them about the hit piece they did, and I said
how the government settled with Atterbury, proving I was right.
Absolutely, yeah. You said damage occurred from the the folks who were being housed there. They denied it ever happened, called you a liar, and then they got paid. What Atterbury got? What, $20 million or something
from the government for damages
for the
damages
refugees that you reported, and then and WTHR reported the settlement. But they never sent you an apology. So no, to this day, and I got to tell you, there are at least a dozen reporters over there, and it's got to circulate now, is like, hey, let's get Guy Relford on to talk about this. Oh, no, wait a minute. We haven't sent Jason Hammer his apology yet.
Well, I appreciate you having my back, my friend.
Always,
I appreciate
man.
that.
Always.
If you're looking for a reason to drink tonight, right?
Okay.
It's New Year's Eve. Some folks are still off work. Some folks don't have to work tomorrow. We got two reasons for you to celebrate. Happy 49th birthday to Tiger Woods. Tiger Woods, 49 years old guy. How about that?
That's interesting to me. Okay, now, I don't know when you saw that in the media, he was 49 today. It was, and maybe you knew that already. Maybe you already knew exactly how old Tiger Woods was. But assuming you didn't, when you saw that number, was that older or younger than what you would have predicted if somebody just asked you the question?
Older, for sure. I would have thought Tiger Woods was probably 42, 43. Like, because in my mind, again, I'm older too. I'm 46. Tiger Woods is still that guy that's in his 20s coming out with the big drives, knocking the ball far away, changing the game. Tiger Woods and Caitlin Clark, kind of the same story, right?
Yeah.
Like, there were some golfers that didn't like Tiger Woods because maybe it's because he was a black guy. Maybe it's because he was brash and did commercials and had endorsements with Nike and Gatorade and all this kind of stuff. They were jealous. Same thing with Caitlin Clark. All these girls in the WNBA, they're jealous of what she's got.
Oh, that's totally true. I don't know. With me, first of all, I've never been a golfer. I'm probably the only lawyer in North America who doesn't play golf. But since I've never been a golfer, I never really cared that much about golf. And I even though I'm not a golfer or cared that much, when I saw Tiger Woods just take the sport over and just, do all this great and win all these majors early on, I always thought that was kind of cool and liked what was going on. But then when he had his fall from grace, and I know a lot of this is injury related, and so I don't want to beat up on him too much, but with the weird affairs with Denny's waitresses and and they got beat up by his wife, I think, at one point with a golf club.
Ela Nordgren, man, she went full Tiger Woods on Tiger Woods.
So you cheated on your supermodel wife. Let's think about this a minute. You cheated on your supermodel wife with a middle-aged Denny's waitress. and so I get it, and maybe you just need to feel superior. I don't know. I won't do amateur psychology, but at that point I decided I didn't care. I already didn't really care about golf, But then I decided I really didn't care about Tiger Woods. So it's been annoying to me ever since then, where I'm watching ESPN, and okay, they want to cover golf, cool. Then all of a sudden they're talking about, it's like, okay, here's this tournament, and here are the leaders, and oh, by the way, Tiger Woods is in 87th place, 14 over par. And I'm going, why are you telling me what Tiger Woods is doing? Are you reporting on all the other guys who are 14 over par? I mean, it annoyed me that they turned so much attention to him. So I've been annoyed with the Tiger Woods coverage for a while. So to me, it seems like he's been in the news a lot longer than being 49 years old would indicate.
You bring up the fact that he was banging waitresses when he was married to like some Norwegian supermodel.
Right.
This was the voicemail that Tiger left one of his mistresses when his wife had found out.
Hey, it's Tiger. I need you to do me a huge favor. Can you please take your name off your phone? My wife went through my phone and maybe calling you. So if you can, please take your name off that. And what do you call it? Just have it as a number on the voicemail. Just have it as your telephone number. That's it. Okay, you gotta do this for me. Huge, quickly. All right, bye.
And again, you could tell Tiger's one of those guys, Stanford education, probably a nerd his whole life, gets famous, doesn't know how to handle it. So guys that used to be nerds that are now handling all this strange, they don't know how to handle it. Now, a guy that does know how to handle all that strange is Matt Baer.
Oh, heck yeah. Oh, yeah.
Tell me that's not the greatest segue in the history of radio.
It could give lessons. Awesome.
Definitely my favorite. Looking at southbound 65 at West Street, that crash is clear. Still a little bit slow. Back to MLK and in Franklin, crash northbound 65 near Greensburg Road. That's going to be south of State Road 44 King. So it's, north of Edinburgh, north of State Road 252. It has the left lane closed and traffic is stopped for 2 miles. Consider using US 31 instead. Traffic sponsored by Unbound.org. A girl in Kenya dreams of becoming a doctor. An elder in Guatemala dreams of being part of a community. Reach out and change their world, and it will change your own. Unbound.org. I'm Matt Baer. Follow us for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
All right, 2 things here. Number 1, we need 65 people to hit like on that YouTube stream. That gets us to 100 likes. So 65 of you sweet bastards, hit that thumbs up and help us out. And number 2, let's do a round of Ask the Gun Guy. Can we do that, guy?
Oh, hell yes. I love doing Ask the Gun Guy.
Okay, I tell you what. Let's hold off to 4:35 and do that. Let's do Is This Anything coming up.
Perfect.
And then we'll do Ask the Gun Guy.
You bet.
So we got a lot of stuff going on here. Hit likes on that YouTube page. Help us out. We are having a good time today. Guy Relford's here, producer Allison, Matt Baer, Harrison Silcox. I'm Hammer. It's the Hammer and Nigel Show.
Tip off your New Year's celebration with exciting NBA action.
Here's a step back three.
The Pacers and Bucks renewed their rivalry in a big-time Eastern Conference showdown.
Here comes Siakam, center of the floor, Toppin, right sideline, Halliburton for 3.
You don't want to miss out on a family fun New Year's with the blue and gold. Catch the Pacers and Bucks Tuesday at 3. Get your tickets at Pacers.com. Pacers.com. Pacers, Bucks, Tuesday at 3.
So this new dose is, nope, that's not it. The price is nowhere to be found.
Mr. Green? Hi, it's all good. We've got this.
This is not just help from a Walgreens pharmacist.
Oh, new prescriptions. Cool. Let me check to see if these are the lowest cost options covered by your Medicare plan.
Oh, that's great. Thank you.
This is someone supporting you every step of the way. Chat with a pharmacist today to find help saving. This is the human kind of help. Walgreens.
Hey, Mom, I've been meaning to talk to you about some new COVID information I saw online.
Uh-huh.
I read that 3 out of 4 adults in the United States have a high risk factor for severe COVID-19. And black folks like us with certain conditions like diabetes, heart disease, mental health conditions, or being 50 and older are at high risk.
Boy, you sound like a commercial.
I'm just saying. I know you love your ginger teas and essential oils, but remember, there are treatment options for COVID-19.
I promise if I get sick again, I'll call my doctor to ask about my options.
Hammer and Nigel presents
It depends upon what the meaning of the word is.
Is
this anything?
All right, let's rock and roll.
Guy Relford is filling in for Big Nige. He's going to play Is This Anything? Here we go. Guy, is this anything? There's a survey out on men's bathroom habits. And the country where guys are most likely to sit down to pee is Germany. Germany, that's the culture where they sit down to pee the most. The least likely, Mexico. The United States is in the middle of the pack. Is this anything?
No, it's absolutely not anything. I mean, what idiot decided that anyone cares? I mean, who decided to do this opinion poll? And what exactly was the data collection method? How many people did they poll in each country? I'm looking at this going, why on God's earth does anybody care who sits down in the John? No, I don't care. I don't care what you do.
I think
in the
people
John.
do care. Actually, Allison,
No.
jump on the microphone here. Let me ask you this. Let's say you're on a blind date with somebody. You're going out and you're having conversations. You're getting to know each other. And he casually brings up, I sit down to pee. Is that a deal breaker?
Every time?
Every time.
Not a deal breaker, but maybe a conversation.
Do you judge him a little bit more harshly?
A little bit. No, teach their own. Maybe he has bad knees. I don't know.
Yeah, but see, that's
no.
not
Knees are fine. He's good. He just sits down to pee.
He's just lazy and wants to sit down.
Like, he prefers it.
I would have a lot of follow-up questions. Let's just say that.
No, hold on. See, that's not really the question because this is based on national origin. So, the better question to Allison would be, you just heard that Germans are the most likely to sit down to pee of any nationality. So, the best-looking German dude, the best-looking dude you've ever met, happens to be German.
Yeah.
Comes up to you and asks you out. In the back of your mind, you're going to go, wait a minute. There was a survey that says you're more likely to sit down to pee than someone else. You're going to be less inclined to go out with that guy?
No.
Of course not. That's ridiculous.
Not.
That's why nobody cares.
Dating pool's very small these days.
Yes.
But if given the opportunity of good-looking German guy over here that sits down to pee,
hold on,
good-looking German guy over here that does not sit down to pee, which one are you going home with, Allison?
I can't say that. I don't know.
Everything's equal. Everything's the same. You got one guy that sits the pee and another guy that doesn't.
This is a trap. No, they're both fine. Everyone does what they need to do.
It's an easy answer. The one with the nicest smile or the one with the Mercedes.
See, the easy answer is Allison goes home with everybody. That's what I was thinking. Allison will go home with anybody.
I'll give everyone a try.
You hear that, Matt Bear? Back at the traffic center? All right. Is this anything? An exterminator in Pennsylvania facing charges after he was hired to spray pesticide in an apartment complex. But a Ring camera, the doorbell camera and the inside cameras, the Ring cameras, they caught him spraying something else. He was peeing all over the living room. Is this anything?
There's a theme to today's Is This Anything?
Yeah, that is a deal breaker for me.
Yes. See, now. Yes. See, and that establishes this is something. Absolutely. Because you know what? Not only is that something, to me, it's criminal charges. It's a civil case, at least on replacing my carpet and other cleanup services. Yeah. Oh, hell yes. How hard would it be to not be violent with someone that you catch coming in and doing that in your house?
Right. Isn't that what happened in The Big Lebowski? If you've seen The Big Lebowski, somebody pees on the rug, right? And it's a point of reference in the story as the movie goes on.
Exactly.
Here's one right up your wheelhouse, Guy. Is this anything? A criminal defense attorney going viral on social media after saying you should never use the self-checkout at stores. This criminal defense attorney, it's a woman. She says that it's too risky. If you get falsely arrested for shoplifting, it can be a huge legal nightmare. Just go through the checkout lane where there's somebody scanning you out. It helps you out legally. Is this anything?
Well, you know, I've never handled a shoplifting case, Jason, and nor would I. But no, that's ridiculous. I mean, because what I'm going to look, there are cameras everywhere, right? I mean, it's not like necessarily a casino in Vegas, But there are cameras everywhere. If I do everything that I can within my power to make sure I scan everything that I've got in my basket or my cart, or whatever it is, and carry it out, then why the hell would I worry about being accused of shoplifting? It makes no damn sense to me. You know, it's sometimes, it doesn't matter what field you're in, you're trying to identify something to get people's attention to go, ooh, wow, that's something insightful I hadn't thought about before. Whether that gets you clicks on your website or cases for your legal practice, that's just ridiculous. That's nothing.
And hell, in some cases, like in California, as long as it's less than, the threshold, whatever it is, $999,
right.
You're fine. Go home. Enjoy whatever you just stole. And here in Marion County, we're like, 300 officers short of IMPD of where they want to be. They don't have time to go to Walmart to see if you shoplifted. They might send somebody later, but they're bigger fish to fry at this point.
You know what? Just to prove my point, and to say I live the message that I deliver on my way home today, I'm going by Joe's Butcher Shop in Carmel. Fabulous, wonderful butcher shop.
I love a good local butcher shop.
Oh, man. And they are wonderful. Not cheap, but they are wonderful. And I'm picking up fillets for New Year's Eve that I'm going to do. Nice. I'm going to smoke them first, and I'm going to finish them off on my brand new Blackstone that I got for Christmas.
Nice.
And they're going to be killer, and they're going to be really nice fillets. I'm going to pick up some shrimp as well, and they're going to be a little pricey. And
you're going to be the grill guy. That's who you're going to be.
And wait a minute, they don't have self-checkout at Joe's. My point is, I would go through, I would buy a lot of meat. I would buy a lot expensive stuff and still go through the self-checkout because I have no concern about being prosecuted.
Let's open it up. 239-9393. Assuming our phone lines are working, which I believe they've been working fine lately. I don't know. Hopefully it's okay. Let's do a round of Ask the Gun Guy. So if you've got a 2A related question, criminal defense attorney question, whatever it is. Maybe you want to talk Colts. Guy Relford will address your phone call, whatever it is. 239-9393. Take advantage of the best damn 2A attorney in all of America. We're going to make him work for free for you. 239-9393. This is the Hammer and Nigel Show.
Risk tolerance is a big deal. Risk tolerance is knowing what you can lose on an investment. Very important with a new administration and new fiscal policy coming in. Matt Bear here. Hi. The fiduciary advisors at Trajan Wealth are ready to help. Call 317-480-4040 or visit TrajanWealth.com to schedule a complimentary consultation. Trajan Wealth understands the importance of tactical investments and tailored insights for growth in line with your risk tolerance. They are constantly checking and evaluating the markets for you, and in tandem with you, they'll develop a wealth management plan that reflects your values. As a fiduciary, they always have to act in your best interest. That's security like that. That's peace of mind. Call Trajan Wealth at 317-480-4040 or visit TrajanWealth.com today. Advisory services offered through Trajan Wealth LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. Paid advertisement.
There she is, founder and CEO. High five.
Dave can't stop celebrating with every business owner in town.
All right, Baker Man, high five.
He's sharing the excitement of big savings with the Comcast Business 5-year price lock guarantee.
Oh, up top, bike shop.
Yeah. It's 5 years of gig speed internet.
Quick, high five.
5 years of advanced security.
5 years.
And 5 years of a great rate that won't change.
Yeah, law partners. Chamberlain, Messelthorpe, Dubois.
All from the company with 99.9% network reliability. Switch today and get the 5-year price lock guarantee.
5 years.
It's back, but only for a limited time.
Woo!
Powering 5 years of savings, powering possibilities. Comcast Business.
Can't forget you, voiceover guy.
Ah, thanks, Dave.
High five.
Ends 3/9/25. Guaranteed rate applies to monthly service charge for new customers on qualifying internet bundle, excluding taxes and fees. Other restrictions apply.
Attention, Indiana homeowners. Are you tired of avoiding your wet basement? Hi, I'm Mike Smith with Swingco Crawl Space and Basement Repair, your real, local, Indiana family-owned experts. Imagine all the possibilities of a guaranteed dry basement, a cozy new family room, a home gym, or even a new office. And with no interest, no payment financing, you don't have to break the bank to do it. Make the most of your basement today. Call Swingco 317-407-1868 or swingcollc.com.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
When it could start raining again. 50 degrees, partly cloudy at the Circle. Your radar is clear of any trouble. Low tonight down to about 44. I'm Harrison Silcox. Here's what's trending at 434. Expect chilly weather and some rain to close out 2024 with showers showing up before the end of the day.
We're going to have another round of rain coming up here, probably from late this evening into Tuesday morning, and probably some light rain continuing through the day Tuesday. Not as much as this last system, but still another light to moderate rainfall for the area.
Alex McGinnis with the National Weather Service says they're keeping an eye on a snowstorm that could show up Sunday. Could be snowing by Monday. Republicans don't have to settle for Mike Johnson as Speaker of the House. This, according to Indiana Republican Congresswoman Victoria Spartz.
I think there are a lot of other people are interested, but I think they don't want at this point to go to Speaker Johnson.
Talking with Fox and Friends this morning, Spartz says she's willing to hear some of Johnson's ideas. She also says she's not sold on what he has to offer. The House is supposed to vote on a speaker this Friday. President-elect Donald Trump is urging the Supreme Court to delay the upcoming ban on TikTok. Fox's Grady Trimble reports.
It's looking extremely unlikely that TikTok is going to sell in the next 20 or so days. So that would mean that the potential ban could go into effect the day before President-elect Trump is inaugurated. So what he's asking for is a little bit of time to get into the White House and to try to sort out the national security concerns. Here is what an attorney for Trump writes to the Supreme Court. President Trump alone possesses the consummate deal-making expertise, the electoral mandate, and the political will to negotiate a resolution to save the platform while addressing the national security concerns expressed by the government, concerns which President Trump himself has acknowledged.
Trump had supported a TikTok ban during his first term. Now he credits the app for some of his electoral gains among some younger voters. And this happening now, Indianapolis police say they're at an active incident this afternoon. Our news gathering partner, Wish TV, says it's around East 30th Streets. It's between North Arlington and Shadeland Avenues over on the east side. All IMPD is calling it again right now an active incident. They say the scene's not secure, and they want you to avoid the area. It was a tough day on the market today. The Dow dropped by 418. It closed at 42,573. The NASDAQ down by 235, finishing at 19,486. And the S&P 500 down by 63 to 5,906. Traffic and weather in 60 seconds. It's 437.
Hey, it's Rob. If you want to grow your hair back, check out the precision and accuracy of the Artist Robotic FUE at We Grow Hair Indie. You'll be amazed at the permanent natural results you can get and get back to work ASAP. Darren Andrews, Clinic Director of We Grow Hair Indie, is here to tell us more.
The Artist Robotic FUE hair transplant at We Grow Hair Indie, one of the most sophisticated hair transplant procedures available. The accuracy and the precision of the Artist Robotic FUE is what clients love the most. Get the results you want with our Artist FUE or multi-unit hair grafting procedure.
Don't wait. Call today and find out more about the Artist Robotic FUE at WeGrowHairIndie.com. Call 317-522-2995 for your hair evaluation. 317-522-2995 or go to WeGrowHairIndie.com and grow your hair back today.
With traffic at 438, here's Matt Baer.
Yeah, Harrison, looking in Johnson County, it is a crash northbound 65, a little over 2 miles after State Road 252 Edinburgh. Right now, the left lane is blocked and traffic is stopped back to that exit, making US 31 the better option for the moment to get up to Franklin, wherever you might be going. Looking at eastbound 465, a little bit slow, Keystone Avenue over to I-69. I'm Matt Baer. Follow us for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
And the forecast from the American Standard Heating Weather Center.
Rainy at times tonight with temperatures down to the mid-40s. New Year's Eve will feature on and off showers and breezy winds. There's potential for some snowflakes to mix on Tuesday night. Temperatures will fall from the 40s to the 30s. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Stephen Deanna for 93 WIBC.
I'm Harrison Silcox on the level on the go and on WIBC.com.
You're listening to the Hammer and Nigel Show.
Anytime Guy Relford fills in, whether it's for me or for Nigel, we make him work for free. We allow you to promote your law practice and your firearms instruction and your sponsors, but damn it, you're going to work for free on this show.
Yeah, I understand. I'm just that mule you like to whip when I come in here. I understand.
But no, all seriousness, nobody is better at answering your 2A questions than Guy Relford is. We say all the time he's the best 2A attorney in all of America, and that is 100% true. So take advantage of this. Let's see what the questions hold. Chris is up first. Chris, welcome to the Hammer and Nigel show.
Yeah, I was arrested for spousal about 25 years ago, and I got 3 years probation, and there's supposed to be a restriction on owning a handgun for 10 years. But about 5 years ago or so, I tried to buy a handgun, and there's a question on there that asks you, have you ever been convicted of spousal? And if you answer yes on that, then you're automatically denied.
Right.
Am I allowed to buy one here?
Well, and where was the conviction?
What was that?
Where was the conviction? What state?
California.
Oh, okay. Well, listen, if you were on probation for 3 years, that tells me it was a felony. And if it's a felony, then no, you can't buy a gun. You would have
a misdemeanor.
Wow.
I had to do 3 years probation, and I didn't have to check in with nobody. Nobody checked in with me. I had a year of anger management, and it wasn't a felony. It was a misdemeanor.
What? Well, okay. And I'm not a California lawyer, brother, but they can't put you on 3 years probation for a crime that's only punishable by up to a year, and that's the definition of a felony is over a year. So you might want to check with a lawyer in California, but if you got 3 years probation, that sounds like it was a felony conviction, which means you can't possess a firearm.
Let's go to Mark. Mark is up next. Mark, we got Guy Relford here. Go ahead.
Yes, good afternoon. Guy, as far as I know, none of us are going to get out of here alive. So who's coming up in the wings that can do what you do? When you're said and done, who are we looking for that's going to be the future?
So you're thinking I'm going to kick the bucket here sometime soon? Is what I'm hearing. No, I'm teasing you. Now listen, hey, I'm not getting any younger. I'm 67 years old. I'm not planning on retiring anytime soon, but it's a legitimate question. You know, my son Craig works for me at the law office where we handle exclusively Second Amendment issues, and Craig's going to be right there.
Son of a gun guy.
Yeah, son of the gun guy.
See, right there. There's your marketing. Yeah. Son of a gun guy.
But, you know, in addition, you know, I work closely with the Indiana State Rifle and Pistol Association, and those folks do a nice job as well, and we're always working in partnership with them. But listen, hey, it's not a closed club. We'd love to have people get involved. We'd love to have people get a hold of me and say, I want to be active. I want to be active in the legislature. That's one thing, as Jason mentioned earlier. I mean, one thing I've done a lot of is I'll write bills, man. If I don't like the way the law is, or I think a law needs to be changed, or a law needs to be repealed, or a new law needs to be passed that protects our rights, I'll write the damn bill and I'll take it to the legislators and I'll fight for it to get passed. And that's something that we need more of. And so I agree with you. We're looking for more people to be involved along those lines. And listen, I'd like to say it's going to be my son Craig, but I'm also not going to dictate his career to him. That's going to be up to him.
And Guy, if somebody's listening now that has a son, daughter, grandchild that is in college becoming a lawyer,
oh yeah,
feels like there's a hole in the market a little bit. There's a place for pro 2A attorneys.
There is. I mean, you know, I kind of feel like I'm writing my own epitaph here. but you know, you're completely right. And hey, come on in. The water's fine, man. We need more. It's not just a one-person job. More the better. And I will cooperate and partner with anybody, including young person who wants to come in and get involved. I would absolutely love that.
Let's go to Brian. Brian, welcome to the Hammer and Nigel show. Guy Relford's here.
Hey, Guy, how are you?
Great, man. Thanks for calling.
I retired. I talked to you a couple times on Facebook. I retired from the Fort Wayne Police Department back in 2020 and moved down here to be by my grandkids.
Uh-huh.
What I'm concerned about is I know there was a bill that was up in front of the state legislature on retired police officers carrying on school property.
Yes.
The person that authored that bill ended up passing away. I don't know what happened with the bill.
Well, it's a fabulous question, and the person you're talking about is Jack Sandlin. Senator Jack Sandlin, senator from right here in Indianapolis. He did pass away. The good news is that I think part of his legacy in the General Assembly is that bill was taken up by other legislators, and we got it passed last year, I believe. And so now, if you're still qualified under LEOSA, and you're going to know exactly what that means for everybody else, it's the Law Enforcement Officer Safety Act, where retired officers need to go back and qualify with their handgun. But if you're qualified under LEOSA, even as a retired officer, you can carry on school property now. That went into effect last year. So it's a great question, and it's a great opportunity also to pay a little homage to a great American, great Hoosier, great legislator who was Jack Sandlin.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe Cindy Carrasco has kind of taken over that seat in the Indiana General Assembly. I think it's Cindy, and I like Cindy a great deal as well.
I do too. Man, we all rooted for her when she was running for prosecutor here in Marion County. I think she would have been a fabulous prosecutor, and I'm disappointed she didn't win that race. But yeah, she's there in the legislature now, and I wouldn't absolutely be 100% sure that she took over Jack Sandlin's seat, but that sounds right to me, Jason.
Yeah, I think it's a South Side kind of thing.
Yeah, I think that's right.
All right, Lori, Roger, and Dave, you guys stay right where you're at. We got to take a little time out here. We'll get your calls when we come back. It is Ask the Gun Guy with the best 2A attorney in America, Guy Relford. This is the Hammer and Nigel Show.
The holidays are over, and the new year is here, making it the perfect time to think about the future. More specifically, it's the perfect time to think about your financial future. Right now, Howard Bailey Financial is offering a free retirement toolkit, a comprehensive guide designed to help you plan, save, and jumpstart the retirement you deserve. To get your free copy today, text FUTURE to 888-262-1104 and download your free retirement toolkit. Start 2025 off with a gift to yourself, filled with all the tools you need to plan for a positive and purpose-filled future. Just text FUTURE to 888-262-1104 to start planning today. Make this new year your year to invest in yourself and secure a brighter tomorrow, starting today. Howard Bailey Securities, LLC is an independent financial services firm and uses a variety of different investment strategies. Please see disclosures at howardbailey.com.
Nobody cares for you like family. Family Heating and Air.
Hey, this is Malia. We often get asked when is the best time to buy, and the answer is today, not tomorrow. With rising utility costs, rising product costs, and missed opportunity costs, which you could be saving with a high-efficiency system. Give us a call today to schedule your free in-depth estimate, 317-577-8077.
Family Heating and Air is your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
Join Mark Patrick Seminars and lose the weight guaranteed. Early bird special only $49.99. Hypnosis to destroy unwanted cravings, late day eating binges, boredom eating, stress eating. Also, stop smoking with Mark Patrick without cravings, irritability, weight gain, or your money back. Seminars January 23rd at the Holiday Inn Express in Noblesville. Weight loss seminar 5:30, stop smoking seminar at 8. And January 25th at the Holiday Inn Indianapolis Airport. Weight loss seminar 11 a.m., stop smoking seminar 2 p.m. Register at markpatrickseminars.com.
Healthcare.gov has plans for health because you have plans for life. All plans cover doctor visits and emergency care to keep you and your family running strong. All plans cover hospital stays and prescriptions so you can have peace of mind. Visit healthcare.gov to explore health plans from the brands you know. 4 out of 5 customers can find a health plan for $10 or less per month with financial help. Healthcare.gov is here for you. Final deadline to enroll is January 15th. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers. So we build specially adapted homes at Homes for Our Troops. And thanks to our donors and supporters, this life-changing gift of freedom is provided mortgage-free to these veterans. But we need you to join us, too, in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Hammer and Nigel here, inviting you to join us as we kick off the weekend every Friday around 5:45 with Beer Sample Friday, brought to you by our friends at Thompson Furniture and Mattress in Columbus.
Addiction. It's hard on those who struggle with it, but those who love the addict need support too. Matt Baer and Ryan Hedrick provide help and hope with Supporting Sobriety. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and on WIBC.com.
Somebody asked me on the YouTube chat, Matt, if I've been going to your tanning bed, and no, I just got back from Florida, but I'm still not as tan as you are.
Do you want to go sometime? We'll go.
Do they do the undercarriage?
Yeah, yes.
Then I'm in. Burn it, I'm in.
That took me off guard, man.
So Planet Fitness?
wherever you want to go, man. It's popular. All the kids are doing it. Looking at the northeast side, Lawrence crash northbound 465 at East 71st is northbound at East 71st Street. Left lane is closed. Traffic is stopped back to Penn Pike. Also, please avoid 30th Street west of Shadeland Avenue on the east side. This is a shooting investigation going on right now. Harrison Silcox with more coming up at 5:02. But right now, if you could stay clear, 30th west of Shadeland Avenue, that would be awesome. Looking at Edinburgh, northbound 65, about 2 miles after State Road 252 to the north. That's a crash blocking the left lane. Traffic is jammed back to the 252 exit. Traffic sponsored by Unbound.org. A girl in Kenya dreams of becoming a doctor. An elder in Guatemala dreams of being part of a community. Reach out and change their world, and it will change your own. Unbound.org. I'm Matt Baer at WIBC Traffic.
Cloudy skies and 49 at the American Standard Heating Weather Center. Coming up here in just a little bit, Dr. Laura Wilson, our pal from the University of Indianapolis, professor of political science, will join us. We'll get her thoughts on not only the passing of Jimmy Carter, but the year that was in Indiana politics. So she's coming up a little bit after 5. She's always awesome. But in the meantime, it's Ask the Gun Guy. Your calls to the best 2A attorney in America. Lori has been waiting patiently. Lori, go ahead.
Yes, I just wanted to know. My son had a gun stolen from his house. He did file a police report. I'm assuming that if that gun then was used in a crime, that he would be in the clear as long as, obviously it was after the date that he filed that police report. But would he then also be able to petition to get that gun returned?
Yeah. Was that here in Marion County?
It was not. It was in Decatur County.
Well, count your blessings on that because, first of all, Indiana actually has an immunity statute. It says if your gun was taken from you through illegal means, that includes theft, burglary, criminal conversion, and otherwise, if it's taken from you illegally, you actually have immunity from any civil liability arising from the illegal use of that gun. So once that gun was stolen, the Indiana legislature has passed a law that protects people that are the victims of crimes where their gun is stolen. And yes, if it were to be recovered, the reason I asked you about Marion County is Marion County, and I've participated in an expose that was done on this by Channel 8, Wish TV here in Indianapolis with Richard Essex. But a gun goes into the Marion County property room, it's almost impossible to get it back out, and it's intentional. They're, in my mind, trying to steal property from law-abiding gun owners. But in Decatur County, I'm guessing is a much easier process, and if that gun's recovered, you should be able to get it back.
By the way, we still need 14 more likes on the YouTube page. Come on, people. We're working hard. We got Guy Relford passing out free advice. I got Allison talking about all these dudes she wants to bring home. We're having a good time here. I don't think it's asking too much for 14 more people to hit like on the WIBC YouTube feed of this show.
Hell yeah.
Roger is up next. Roger, rock and roll.
Yeah. Hey, Guy, thank you for all you do.
Sure, buddy.
I'm a 60-year-old man. People tell me I look 50, but I have a lot of health conditions. They're well documented, congestive heart failure, COPD, things of that nature, where I can't run, I can't fight, I can't do anything anymore like that. So the only thing I have is my gun. And so with that, and I pray every day nothing ever happens. But if it did, and I had to do something, and it went to court or whatever, would that be on the record somehow?
Yeah, that's absolutely relevant. And I teach this in my Essentials of Indiana Gun Law class. I got one of those coming up on January 25, and I talk about this all the time. Is for instance, in order to use force and self-defense, and specifically to use deadly force in self-defense. And if a gun's involved, it's deadly force. You have to reasonably believe that force is necessary to prevent serious bodily injury to you or a third person. So let's say you've got multiple people walking up on you. You don't see, any weapons necessarily, but they're younger than you. They're bigger. They're stronger. They're fitter. Whatever applies. And this applies to me. It applies to Jason, Allison. Doesn't matter who it is. And if it becomes more reasonable for you to use deadly force, including the use of a firearm, to the extent that you don't have other options. You can't run away. And again, we live in a stand your ground state, so you have no obligation to run away. But in terms of your capacity to fight with your hands, your ability to defend yourself without going to that gun, it makes it more and more reasonable for you to believe that you have to go to that gun in order to prevent serious bodily injury. So it's always a fact by fact, case by case, individual analysis. I can't give any broad and general rules, but the answer to your question is your physical condition would 100% be relevant in a self-defense case if you had to defend yourself.
Here's why I love this show so much. Guy Relford is just bringing you the heat. He's bringing you the best advice you can get. Again, people pay thousands of dollars for this type of stuff Guy's passing out for free right now. Meanwhile, on the YouTube, people want to talk about how tan my taint is. Like, this is the magic of the Hammer and Nigel show. This is what you get right here.
I'm a distant second to your taint, apparently. Yeah, I get it. No, I understand.
Hey, real quick, because I know we've got extra time today because it's the holidays and there are very few commercials. We were talking off the air about the Colts and the mess that they're in.
Right.
You said that you were the victim of a prank back in the strike season of '87. Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah, and listen, I went to law school with a really dear friend, and we were both football players in college. We played against each other. I played for DePaul, he played for Wabash. We were great friends, but because we were rivals in college, we played jokes on each other all the time, practical jokes. And after we both got a letter that said we passed the bar exam because we went to law school together, and I decided to do a practical joke on him where I basically fabricated a letter from the State Board of Law Examiners that said, hey, man, due to an administrative error, we erroneously advise you passed the bar. You actually flunked it by a rather wide margin, and you need to apply for reexamination. And I let him get this letter. I put it in his mail at work because we were both clerks at the same law firm. And I let him get this, and I stood outside. Anyway, I went in and tell him. And he chased me around the law firm, and we got in trouble, but it was hilarious. And so we had a lot of fun. And anyway, so that was in 1983. 4 years go by. It's 1987. It's the strike season.
Right.
And I get a letter in the mail. It's in the mail, and it's this embossed stationery. It's got the Colts helmet at the top, and it's from the director of player personnel at the Colts, whoever that was in 1987. And it said, as you may know, Mr. Relford, we are in a strike season this year, and the union members of our team are not playing. We'd love for you to come down and try out.
No way.
For the strike team, because we understand you were an outstanding tight end at the DePaul University. And I'm looking at this going, dude, I graduated in 1980. How would they know I was such a great tight end back at DePaul? Division III, mind you.
That's why.
Because it was my buddy getting me back. And I went down to the RCA Dome going, I'm here to try out.
Oh, no way.
And no, there was no such letter.
That's awesome. Love that story so much. It's the Hammer and Nigel show.
Where can you kick off the new year with big savings on gig speed? Only with Xfinity, now through January 16th. Get gig internet at home for $25 a month for 1 year when you add an unlimited mobile line, which connects you to gig speed Wi-Fi on the road. Act fast today and save more than $650 over AT&T and Verizon in your first year. Plus, hurry and take advantage because right now you can also get a free 5G phone with trade-in. So save big and stay connected to what you love with fast gig speed internet and mobile. From home to hotspots, this new year, it's all about gig speeds and big savings. Don't wait and get gig speed internet. Spend less green and switch to Xfinity. Go to Xfinity.com/gig savings to learn more. Requires paperless billing and autopay with stored bank account. Restrictions apply. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra. $40 internet discount applied to mobile bill. After promo, regular rates apply. Actual speeds vary. Savings compared to Verizon Fiber Gig Plus 1 Unlimited Welcome Line and AT&T Fiber Gig Plus 1 Unlimited Starter Line. Xfinity internet required. Reduced speeds after 30 gigabits of usage per line. Data thresholds and actual savings vary.
Pat Sullivan here with Michaela of Michaelis. If you have water damage, Why should you call Michaelis?
Michaelis is a local family-owned Indianapolis company with 39 years experience. On call 24/7, 365. We are IICRC certified and will restore your space to pre-loss condition or better. And we work through the entire insurance process on your behalf to make it easy.
Water, storms, fire, and mold. Life happens. Michaelis happens to help you through it. Text or call 844-FIX-INDY.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of kids in foster care will love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org, brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Coming up in 2 minutes, it could be raining by the time you bring in the new year. IMPD says they're looking into an officer-involved shooting on the east side and what a former state rep has said about working with Jimmy Carter. Those stories and more coming up after Fox News Radio from the Technology Recycler Studios. You're listening to 93 WIBC, WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 5 o'clock.
Bipartisan praise. I'm Tom Graham, Fox News. Former President Jimmy Carter being remembered for his time in the White House and his humanitarian outreach outside the Oval Office.
We need to remember this and let it inspire us. We can have different perspectives, but we can still respect each other and work with each other.
Democratic Congresswoman Debbie Dingell pointing to Carter's friendships with Gerald Ford and Ronald Reagan. 39th president died at 100 years old.
In recent years, he had had a number of health problems, including melanoma. He was being treated by hospice for the past 2 years. We've heard praise from world leaders throughout the day, but also ordinary people coming to the Carter Center to lay flowers and pay their respects. Former President Obama said Jimmy Carter could teach people how to live with grace. Former President Bush said Carter's work with Habitat Humanity would continue to inspire generations of Americans. For the next 8 days, we're likely to see memorials, a service at the Carter Center in Atlanta, then a state funeral in Washington, and finally, burial back in Plains, Georgia.
Fox's Steve Harrigan in Georgia. An estimated 1 million people expected to pack a few blocks in the middle of New York City, welcoming the new year. Police Commissioner Jessica Tisch says they're taking precautions in Times Square.
There will be no backpacks, large bags, coolers, chairs, alcohol, or, importantly, umbrellas allowed in viewing areas.
Revelers may have to deal with rainy conditions in the Big Apple. Recovery efforts are underway from Texas to the Carolinas.
We had 8,000 homes without power. Wow. And within about 3 hours, Entergy, our company here, had 4,000 of those homes up. When I looked at the data earlier today, there's still about 630, 640 homes that still need to be energized.
Montgomery County Judge Mark Cuff in Texas speaking there to Fox Weather. 4 people are dead. As many as 44 tornadoes were reported across 7 states. America is listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
When the rain could return. 50 degrees and cloudy in downtown Indianapolis. Currently no rain on your radar, but it could be raining tonight. Temps drop to the mid-40s later. I'm Harrison Silcox. Here's what's trending at 5:02. It could be a rainy end to your 2024.
We're going to have another round of rain coming up here, probably from late this evening into Tuesday morning, and probably some light rain continuing through the day Tuesday. Not as much as this last system, but still another light to moderate rainfall for the area.
Alex McGinnis with the National Weather Service says temperatures will drop to start the year, and you could get some snow by next week. There's a police shooting on the east side this afternoon. IMPD has officers out at East 30th Street between North Arlington and Shadeland Avenue. They say avoid the area for several hours. Police are investigating the whole thing. 2 people were killed at a lounge in Indianapolis Sunday. Now the place it happened might be shut down. Ryan Hedrick reports.
A double stabbing at the Havana Sports Lounge on the city's west side, which killed Tyler Amos and TJ Jordell Walker, took place inside the venue, raising the possibility for the lounge to be closed.
All things will be considered, and we review that, and we review the case and work closely with detectives and figure out, is this a problematic thing for the community?
IMPD officer Tommy Thompson says the IMPD's abatement squad, which specializes in nuisance properties, will lead the investigation. Ryan Hedrick, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
Republicans don't have to settle for Mike Johnson as Speaker of the House, says Indiana Republican Congresswoman Victoria Spartz.
I think there are a lot of other people are interested, but I think they don't want at this point to go to Speaker Johnson.
Talking with Fox and Friends this morning, Spart says she's willing to hear some of his ideas, but isn't sold on what he has to offer. The House is supposed to vote on a speaker this Friday. Dictionary.com says their word of the year is demure. These Hoosiers are weighing in on how they feel about it.
Demure. I don't know. I just love the word demure. Iconic. I think it was probably the word. It was definitely the word of the summer.
Demure was not my word. It was amazing and grateful.
Merriam-Webster says their words most searched this year include polarization along with totality and demure. And former President Jimmy Carter, if you haven't heard already, passed away yesterday. Former Indiana Representative Lee Hamilton is someone who got to work alongside him.
I enjoyed working with him because I like to see a well-prepared president, and he certainly was that. Carter was always well prepared.
Hamilton's now a professor at IU. That's him talking to Wish TV. Carter died at the age of 100. Traffic and weather in 60 seconds. It's 5:04.
Many times, patients have symptoms they didn't know were actually related to their airway breathing issues.
I was suffering from sinus issues, jaw issues, and neck pain. I guess I just kind of had my breaking point.
Unfortunately, this is typical. But until you get to the root of your problem, it's going to just persist. Fortunately, Jody took action, and the results were typical as well.
My quality of life is so different, but one of the first things that I noticed was my breathing. I don't ever remember being able to breathe like that.
Being able to breathe freely is life-changing, and the effects can go beyond that.
Sleeping better, having more energy, and it seemed as if all of those symptoms that I had just melted away.
And thank heavens for that, because at Advent, results are what drive us, helping you breathe well so you can live better.
Results may vary. Most insurance accepted.
The traffic on the 5s at 5:05. Here's Matt Bear.
All right, Harrison South Side crash westbound 465 at Arlington Avenue, blocking 2 left lanes, stopping traffic back to I-74 for a 22-minute delay. Northeast side crash going northbound to 465 at East 71st Street. The left lane is blocked, slowing traffic back to Pendleton Pike for a 10-minute delay. Please avoid 30th Street west of Shadelet Avenue on the east side. Again, that's east of 30th west of Shadelet Avenue. Police are investigating an officer-involved shooting. Traffic sponsored by Inbound.org. A girl in Kenya dreams of becoming a doctor. An elder in Guatemala dreams of being part of a community. Reach out and change their world, and it will change your own. Unbound.org. I'm Matt Bear. Follow us for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
And the forecast from the American Standard Heating Weather Center.
Rainy at times tonight with temperatures down to the mid-40s. New Year's Eve will feature on and off showers and breezy winds. There's potential for some snowflakes to mix on Tuesday night. Temperatures will fall from the 40s to the 30s. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Stephen Deanna for 93 WIBC.
I'm Harrison Silcox, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Hammer and Nigel.
Can you believe these characters are weirdos? So let's rock!
It's the Hammer and Nigel show. I'm Jason Hammer. Big Nige is out, but Guy Relford is filling in. And let's go to the hotline right now. Bring on one of our favorites. She is a professor of political science at the University of Indianapolis. Dr. Laura Wilson joins us. Doctor, happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, all that kind of stuff. Hope everything's going well for you.
Oh, it is fantastic, and same back to you. I'm excited for a new 2025.
Well, let's look back at 2024 here in just a moment, but before we do that, the big story is the passing of former President Jimmy Carter. 100 years old, passed away yesterday. We talked earlier in the show, I think multiple things can be true. I think it would be fair to say that the presidency was not a success, but his time out of the White House could be viewed as a success. Take me through your thoughts on Jimmy Carter.
Well, I think that assessment is spot on, and it's oftentimes, I think, pretty rare, right? This was a guy who had 4 very hard years in office as president. He never makes the top 10 or even cracks the top 15 in terms of historians or political scientists' list of best presidents, right? He had a very tough time in his administration, but it's really what he did after he served as president that I think really has cemented his legacy as an incredible, yes, president, but person. It was what he did in terms of humanity and helping with Habitat for Humanity, helping in terms of lead the country in a way that proves, I think, you don't need to be the chief executive to make an incredible difference on your country and your community. And to me, it's fascinating. When I first heard the news yesterday of President Carter's passing, my first thought was, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. He died. But my immediate second thought was, but boy, did he live. And he did so much in 100 years that I'm sure I won't make it that long, but very few of us could expect to do. His legacy is far beyond the White House, and I'm not sure that's true for most presidents. They're obviously exceptional human beings. They get to serve as leader of the country, but for Jimmy Carter, his real legacy is well past the White House and what he did, and I think that's certainly how he'll be remembered in terms of his legacy, and as we think back to everything that he did in his time on Earth.
When we talk about his time outside of the White House, there are some things that he did that at the time rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. Meeting with the Castro brothers, saying some nice things about some not nice people, some terrorist folks. But at the end of the day, I think most people, if you're being rational, would agree that his time outside of the White House was a lot better than in.
It absolutely was. And the thing that's interesting about that is I don't think that's true for many presidents, right? If we're looking back at presidential legacies and the living presidents who aren't serving anymore that we still have, but those that have also passed away in the last several decades, most of the time, the highlight of what they did in terms of leadership and as a person, the things we'd say like, oh, this is what they were, this is who they stood for, this is what they did, it would really focus on what they did as president in the 4 or 8 years that they served the country as the chief executive. And that's the part that's probably most notable about Carter. And the thing I think of oftentimes with his legacy is he was a relatively young president. He could have left office in 1980, right, and just kind of withered away. He could have slid into the background. He could have said, no more public service. I don't want the attention. I just want to focus on me. He was a peanut farmer. He probably could have gone back to that and been, successful in a personal manner. But he actively chose to still serve and arguably probably found the best way he could put his life to service and meaning that really was after the White House. Not a lot of presidents do that, and they don't necessarily make that choice or they don't find that route for themselves, but I think that's one of the things that makes Carter genuinely unique as a president is what he did after being president, of course, and then also probably just regarded very popularly, regardless of whether or not you liked his policies or what he did or didn't do while in the White House. It's who he was as a person and what he did for humanity that makes him so memorable in such a positive way for many people.
And he was in hospice for a while here. This wasn't like something that had just came on. He had battled for a long time. And I don't know about you. Again, I mentioned this earlier, just my opinion. But when the Democrats rolled him out for an election stunt to vote for Kamala, seeing the condition that he was in, I don't know. I think that rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. I kind of hated to see Jimmy Carter like that. Again, I'm not a Jimmy Carter super fan, but anybody that's had a dad or a grandfather in a situation like that, you don't want the public to see them like that. That stunt where they rolled him out in the bed to vote for Kamala, that kind of rubbed me the wrong way.
I think it's a really hard moment. I wouldn't want to be in that position, and I don't know how much he wanted to. Perhaps that was something he thought was really important. I understand, though, and especially when we're talking about legacy now at this point, he was 100 years old, which is absolutely incredible. But, of course, you're not going to be the same as you were when you were young in your 70s or young in your 50s, and I say that with a little bit of a smile on my face. I think that's always the tricky thing in terms of political stunt or political strategy. I think most decisions, quite frankly, are a mix of both. And I'll tell you in terms of the scheme of his life, that one won't stand out as a highlight or a memory or even just a hard moment for me. I, quite frankly, forgot about it until you mentioned it. Probably not the route that I would have gone. I agree with you on that. But I think that said, that's a small point in Carter's legacy of who he was. And again, as president, was not considered a very strong president. Very few people would consider him one of the best or even maybe in the top half. But it's truly who he was as a person that made that difference.
Speaking with Dr. Laura Wilson from the University of Indianapolis. She is a professor of political science. Since this is probably the last time we're going to speak before the brand new year 2025 rolls in, when you look back at 2024 in Indiana politics, what comes to your mind?
Well, first of all, I would say unpredictable. You had competition in the gubernatorial primary for the Republican candidates, and several strong candidates. Obviously, now Governor-elect Mike Braun won out. I think it was also unpredictable just in terms of what we saw politically going on in our state house and our state legislature. This was Holcomb's last year in his administration, and there was an assumption probably because of non-budgeting legislative session that it wasn't going to be that crazy. And in fact, there's a lot of attention on social issues that made it probably much more interesting, maybe also more controversial than it necessarily was. And then you saw these moments where you had several congressional representatives from Indiana retire, creating these open seats that we saw. And so you had some of that turnover. We also have a new senator-elect in Jim Banks. So I think when I look back at this year, we're talking about kind of this moment in time that's a pivot to what the future may be. And I don't think that it is going to be drastically different. I don't think that we're looking at a 2025 that is wildly diverse relative to 2024. But there were those important moments, and especially in a presidential election year when we're also electing our governor and our U.S. senator, there were a lot of high-stakes moments that we saw play out with strong personalities, obviously some strong policies, but things that I think are certainly worth remembering and recognizing as we go into the new year.
Go back to that Republican convention during the summer. Mike Braun, his first choice was not Micah Beckwith, but Micah Beckwith had been kind of campaigning, lobbying to be the guy, and it goes through multiple votes at the Republican convention. And in what many would say was a pretty big upset, Micah Beckwith gets the nod to be the lieutenant governor. What does that say about the Republican Party right now in Indiana?
Well, again, I think that highlights the unpredictability of the past year, but it shows there's diversity within the party. And sometimes I describe it as conflict and tension, and I think people, that ruffles their feathers because they think, oh, I'm saying they're not on the same page. No, like every party is going to have that, and even a healthy, strong party will be divided in some small way. I think what you saw there is just a reminder of how powerful the delegates can be. It's also a new approach to serving as lieutenant governor. We never had anyone that actually campaigned for that office. Beckwith rewrote the ways that you can become lieutenant governor. Like, that's a new approach that no one has ever done before. And I think when you see that, you also see there is difference within the party. The Republicans looking at Julie McGuire and Braun's pick. The voters selected Braun. Braun selected McGuire, but ultimately it was the delegates that picked Beckwith. And there's going to be differences there. Your delegates are not going to be the same as your voters necessarily. And that's certainly what was illustrated in that moment.
And last thing here, when you look at the Indiana Democrats, they kind of went all in on abortion. That was kind of their thing, and it did not work out again. Although some would argue they made some strides in places like Hamilton County and other places. When you kind of look in that crystal ball for Democrats and their future in the state of Indiana, whether it's with Destiny Wells or Jennifer McCormick, what do you think their future holds, and what would you like to see them do to kind of make things more competitive in this state?
Yeah, I think the Democrats are certainly trying to do that. And you mentioned Hamilton County, which I think is the breeding ground for political strategies. This is the place where it feels like it's most competitive between the parties, and you get really strong candidates, some that win and some that lose, but to that point of competition, right? That's the place where it feels like races are not a foregone conclusion. You know, Democrat in the urban areas, Republican in the conservative rural areas, right? Like, that's where competition is. I think for the Democrats, it's trying to figure out the messaging that resonates with the voters. And the Republicans have really had a stronghold on that. But what are the issues that Democrats can make their own that are going to appeal to voters? You talked about abortion, and nationally that's been a big issue, and it's an issue that's important to some Hoosiers, but not a majority of those voting. So what are the other things? You heard a lot from Braun about kitchen table issues. I think that's one of the things that Democrats are going to be looking at, right? What are kitchen table issues that align with the party that are also going to appeal to voters? And that's the kind of soul searching after any election. When your party does well, you probably aren't forced to do. When your party's not so successful, you really have to take a deep, hard look and say, what is it we could have done better? I think issues certainly are going to be one of the things they're focused on.
And I'm waiting to get the tweets and the YouTube posts of, why do you want the Democrats to be good? I thought you were a conservative. Because I think competition makes everybody better. If there's no competition, that's how you get these Republicans that have all this power and tax the bejesus out of you. Competition makes everybody better, I think.
It does. No, it absolutely does. And that's like, it's a capitalist democracy. Like, we should have competition. It's genuinely not a democracy if one party's in control of everything. And that's true for any political party. I like to see options, right? I don't want to go to a restaurant and you have one thing on the menu. I think that's really important to have verifiably good options in terms of policy, in terms of people, in terms of parties. And quite frankly, you're stronger when you have stronger competition, too. So that's certainly valuable.
If you want conservatives to act conservative again, make them fearful for their job. Nothing fixes that faster than that. Doctor, you have been awesome to our show for a number of years. Thank you so much for taking the time today, and we look forward to speaking to you again in 2025.
It was my pleasure. I look forward to it as well. Happy New Year.
All right, Matt Baer standing by. He has a look at the roads.
All right, Hammer, checking out a crash here on the south side. It is westbound, southbound, 465 at Arlington Avenue. That's blocking 2 left lanes, stopping traffic back to South Shadeland Avenue for a delay time, running about 40 minutes. Also looking at a crash, this is Johnson County, northbound 65, 2 miles to the north of State Road 252, and traffic is stopped back to that interchange because of the crash. Northeast side, Lawrence, northbound 465 at East 71st Street, left lane blocked because of a crash. Traffic stop and go back to East 56th Street. Traffic sponsored by Unbound.org. A girl in Kenya dreams of becoming a doctor. An elder in Guatemala dreams of being part of a community. Reach out and change their world, and it will change your own. Unbound.org. I'm Matt Baer. Follow us for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
49 at the American Standard Heating Weather Center. Coming up here about 5:30, we're going to get Kevin Bowen on the phone. We'll get his thoughts on the mess that is the Indianapolis Colts. The Pat McAfee post, which was perfect. Everything in between, that's coming up at 5:30. But up next, a fun round of Are You Okay With This? This is the Hammer and Nigel Show.
Consider yourself a tech expert, but that doesn't mean you can't protect yourself from online scammers with a little help from McAfee Total Protection. Whether it's a fake missed delivery text or an urgent bank alert, these scams can look incredibly convincing. That's where McAfee Total Protection steps in. So go ahead, manage your finances and shop online. McAfee will help keep your device's privacy and identity safer. Visit McAfee.com/online protection today to get award-winning online protection for just $39.99 your first year. That's McAfee.com/online protection. Cancel anytime. Terms apply.
So this new dose is, well, nope, that's not it. The price is nowhere to be found.
Mr. Green? Hi, it's all good. We've got this.
This is not just help from a Walgreens pharmacist.
Oh, new prescriptions. Cool. Let me check to see if these are the lowest cost options covered by your Medicare plan.
Oh, that's great. Thank you.
This is someone supporting you every step of the way. Chat with a pharmacist today to find help saving. This is the human kind of help. Walgreens.
Hey, Mom, I've been meaning to talk to you about some new COVID information I saw online.
Uh-huh.
I read that 3 out of 4 adults in the United States have a high risk factor for severe COVID-19. And black folks like us with certain conditions like diabetes, heart disease, mental health conditions, or being 50 and older are at high risk.
Boy, you sound like a commercial.
I'm just saying. I know you love your ginger teas and essential oils, but remember, there are treatment options for COVID-19.
I promise if I get sick again, I'll call my doctor to ask about my options.
Inside Indiana Business Radio, the news you need to get ahead. Indiana's business news leader, weekdays at 6:32 a.m. and 5:56 p.m. on WIBC.
It's a new year. It's time to get your home Zero-Resified. Call Zero-Res and take 24% off all services for this month. Book online anytime at ZeroResIndy.com.
Are you really okay with this? Are you okay?
Everything's gonna be okay.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine.
I'm pretty far from okay.
Are you okay with this? On the Hammer and Nigel Show. Oh, yeah!
All right, we got Guy Relford pinch hitting for Big Nige today, and this is how we're going to do Are You Okay With This? I'm going to give the keys to this segment to producer Allison.
Oh, boy.
She's going to drive us here. She's going to run a few stories by myself and Guy, and we will share whether or not we're okay with this. Are you ready?
Are you ready is the question.
Let's rock and roll.
Arizona State star freshman quarterback Sam Leavitt signed an NIL deal with Arby's, and made sure that all of his offensive linemen for next season also gets unlimited Arby's meals. And are you okay with this, Hammer?
So Sam Leavitt, however you want to pronounce it, he's the star freshman quarterback for Arizona State. They are in the college football playoff. They're taking on Texas. So this guy is a dude. He's a freshman that's got them into the college football playoff. And in college football now, this whole NIL situation has changed everything. It's basically endorsement deals. So he signed an endorsement deal with Arby's, and he said, okay, if you want me to be your spokesman, I want all of the returning linemen for next year to have unlimited Arby's during the football season. Whatever they want, all the beef and cheddars, all the roast beef sandwiches, it's all you can eat under this deal, and they agreed to it. Yes, I am okay with this. For a freshman, again, this guy can play. He's got him in the college football playoff. They're an underdog against Texas, but he's got him there. This is showing some leadership here because this guy can't be more than 19 or 20 years old, but he knows the linemen are the people that are going to make sure that you get to the NFL. They're the ones who are going to block for you, take care of you, and he gives part of his endorsement deal, which is mainly financial, to his linemen. All you can eat Arby's. As a college kid, dude, that's awesome. I am so okay with this.
I am beyond okay with this. I mean, this is just so fabulous. First of all, for the kid to recognize that other players are, who are making him great, and for him to want to share the lucrativeness of his NIL deal. And it really went on to that. I mean, he went on to say basically all his NIL money is going to be distributed according to the broader perspective of Arizona State athletics.
Right.
How cool is that? If this guy makes it to the next level, he's got a ways to go. He's only a freshman. But if he declares he goes into the NFL, I'm going to be rooting for this kid forever.
Right. So part of this big partnership that he's got with Arby's, and this starts next season, is that, yes, he gets a little bit of money, but the school, Arizona State, also gets a little bit of the money so they can pay other athletes to come play with him because he's no dummy. He wants good receivers, good tight ends, good linemen, and that's college football. You got to pay to play now if you're at that level of, college football playoff teams. He's no dummy, and then he takes care of his linemen with all you can eat Arby's. Imagine Guy Relford. You played college football.
Yeah.
So I tried to walk on. I wasn't any good, but you actually played.
Well.
So imagine freshman Guy Relford. You're on the offensive line, and the star player says, you get all you can eat at this fast food joint. You would jump at that in a heartbeat, right? You take care of that guy.
Oh, yeah. Not only am I watching that guy's back forever, but I'm going to put a serious hurt on the local Arby's franchise. The local Arby's franchise may be thinking they didn't contribute nearly enough money for this deal.
Like, you got to make him pay.
I'm going to make him pay.
When I go into an all-you-can-eat buffet, I'm thinking, you're going to pay. Not only am I going to get my money's worth, but these 5, 6, 7 people behind me, they're going to get my money's worth.
Yeah. Well, are you old enough to remember Checkin Unlimited? There was a Checkin Unlimited.
No.
There was a franchise in Indianapolis, and it was all you could eat fried chicken. And me and I and two of my football playing buddies actually got banned from Checkin Unlimited. They would not allow us in there because we had a disproportionate amount of chicken.
Dude, that's amazing. I love that kind of stuff. I love those types of challenges. Like, when I see all you can eat, that's not an offer. That's a challenge to me, right? I'm not finished when I'm full. I'm finished when I hate myself.
Yeah,
That's how I treat fast food buffets. All right, Allison, go ahead.
All right. Do you guys remember Jolt Cola? It is making a comeback next year with even more caffeine. They say it has all the sugar and twice the caffeine of Coca-Cola and Pepsi. It's being relaunched by a sports supplement brand called Redcon One. They're going to take on rivals like Monster, Red Bull, and Celsius. And the drink is going to have 200 milligrams of caffeine per the 16-ounce can.
Yikes.
Are you okay with this?
Yes, let's go. So Jolt Cola was like the OG of energy drinks, right? Growing up, Jolt Cola would always brag, we've got more caffeine than Coke, more caffeine than Pepsi. Well, since they kind of went out of business, the rise of energy drinks have come along. So now there's the Monsters, there's the, all these other drinks that are out there. And the game is on. So they say, all right, we're coming back. We're going to compete against these energy drinks. We're going to put so much damn caffeine in this thing, your head's going to spin around like Beetlejuice. I am okay with this.
Well, first of all, it's capitalism, so I'm totally okay with it. There's not a problem. But by the way, you're wrong on one thing, Jason. I can count on one hand the times I've ever said that on this show. The OG of energy drinks is Mountain Dew, bro.
Okay.
We've been calling Mountain Dew the original energy drink since time immemorial.
That's true. Very true.
I mean, there are those of us who even have to limit our Mountain Dew consumption for specifically that reason.
Right. I'm one of them. I'm a hillbilly. I love a good Mountain Dew from time to time.
Yep.
Mountain Dew with tequila, by the way, it's called the Nectar of the Gods. And again, we'll have an update on the Hammer and Nigel tequila. It's still happening. It's taking a little longer than we thought. Hopefully here within the end of the month, we'll have an update on that.
I'm definitely okay with that.
But Nectar of the Gods could be happening with Hammer and Nigel show tequila. But Jolt Cola, it reminds me of that movie Idiocracy. If anybody's ever seen Idiocracy, Brondo, the parody energy drink that they had in that movie, that's what the new Jolt Cola is going to be like.
Brondo the Thirst Mutilator. It's like a monster truck you can pour into your face. It's got electrolytes. What are electrolytes? I don't know, but they're extremely awesome, and Brondo is full of them, and they help plants grow, which is why you should drink Brondo and not water, because water is from the toilet, and I've never seen plants grow out of a toilet. It's got caffeine, super extra caffeine. Drinking it will make you wonder why you haven't ever crushed a human skull with your bare hands. I just split my pants like the Incredible Hulk. See that? Brondo will make you need new pants. And while you're out buying new pants, you should buy some new shoes, because you're going to wear out your shoes from kicking everyone's ass all the time. Which might be good or bad, but either way, you're going to win, because Brondo will make you win in things you're not even supposed to win at, like yelling. Brondo will make you win at yelling.
I want to win at yelling, and I'm looking forward to Jolt Cola. All right, Kevin Bowen's up next. Right now, Harrison Silcox has the news.
It will eventually cool down. Partly cloudy, 49 degrees downtown. Radar is clear. You'll have a low of 44 tonight. I'm Harrison Silcox. Here's what's trending at 5:31. Expect chilly weather and rain to close out the year with some rain showing up tonight.
We're going to have another round of rain coming up here, probably from late this evening into Tuesday morning, and probably some light rain continuing through the day Tuesday. Not as much as this last system, but still another light to moderate rainfall for the area.
Alex McGinnis with the National Weather Service in Indianapolis says they're keeping an eye on a potential snowstorm that could show up Sunday at the earliest. There was a police shooting in the east side this afternoon. IMPD says it happened on East 30th Street between North Arlington and Shadeland Avenue. Police say the area is now safe, but you should still steer clear. No officers were hurt. Nothing yet mentioned about a suspect. Should have an update for you in about half an hour. A fight, double stabbing, and 2 men killed. Indy Metro Police say it all happened at the Havana Sports Lounge of the West Side Sunday. Officer Tommy Thompson says detectives are taking a look at security cameras.
Detectives will continue to work, finding out what information can be gathered technologically, working with the resources we have and working with resources provided by patrons, provided by the establishment ownership.
Tyler Ramos and TJ Walker identified as the 2 men who died, according to the Marion County Coroner's Office. President Biden made his last judicial appointments before leaving office. Fox's David Spunt reports
235 federal judges confirmed in the only 4 years of the Biden presidency. Trump had 234. Now, Republicans are quick to push back on another legal move by President Biden and his team, one far more controversial. 2 days before Christmas, the president commuted the sentences of 37 out of 40 federal death row inmates. It keeps them in prison for life, no chance of parole, but it also takes the death penalty off the table. Now, while Biden wants to stop the death penalty at the federal level, incoming President Trump wants to move forward with the punishment through the Department of Justice.
Biden has said the decision to commute the sentences was in part motivated by his Catholic faith. And former President Jimmy Carter passed away yesterday. Former Indiana Representative Lee Hamilton got to work with him.
I enjoyed working with him because I like to see a well-prepared president, and he certainly was that. Carter was always well prepared.
Hamilton, now a professor at IU, talking to Wish TV. Carter died at the age of 100. With traffic at 5:33, here's Matt Bear.
All right, Harrison, south side crash westbound 465 at Arlington Avenue. Moved to the shoulder. The left one traffic is slow back to Brookville Road, but the front of the line moving a little bit better since it reopened a couple of left lanes there. Looking at the northeast side, it's Lawrence. Crash northbound 465 at East 71st Street. Pushed to the shoulder, slow past East 56th Street. And on the east side, please stay clear of 30th Street west of Shadeland Avenue. Harrison was just talking about this. This is a police shooting investigation at this location, 30th Street west of Shadeland Avenue. If you can stay clear, that would be awesome. Traffic sponsored by Unbound.org. A girl in Kenya dreams of becoming a doctor, an elder in Guatemala dreams of being part of a community. Reach out and change their world, and it will change your own. Unbound.org. I'm Matt Bear. Follow us for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
And here's your forecast from the American Standard Heating Weather Center.
Raining at times tonight with temperatures down into the mid-40s. New Year's Eve will feature on and off showers and breezy winds. There's potential for some snowflakes to mix on Tuesday night. Temperatures will fall from the 40s to the 30s. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Stephen Deanna for 93 WIBC.
I'm Harrison Silcox on the level on the go and on WIBC.com.
You're listening to the Hammer and Nigel Show.
Whoa! Y'all gonna make me lose my mind.
All right, it's the Hammer and Nigel Show. I'm Jason Hammer. Guy Relford, the gun guy, filling in for Big Nige. And let's get into it. Let's go to the hotline and bring on Kevin Bowen from 107.5 The Fan. He's one half of the Wake Up Call with KB and Andy, does the morning show over there. All right, before we dive into all things about this team, about the front office, about Pat McAfee, how was your show today? Like, if you could take the temperature of the Colts fan that were interacting with you on your show today, how was it? Is there anything comparable to what you had to deal with this morning?
Well, it's a great question. I would say no. I mean, I'd say tons of venom, pissed off, ready for change. I think all those boxes were checked. A lot of people brought up in 2021 they lost to the Jags in Week 18. If they won that, they got into the playoffs. I mean, that was still, I think, a season where you had shown more promise, and it was more just kind of like a late season letdown. Maybe all the blame towards Carson Wentz was kind of the root of it, whereas now it's like, wait a minute, there are questions everywhere. Certainly you have had this mantra of continuity with Chris Ballard for years, and frankly, I just think people are fed up with it.
And that kind of takes us to the McAfee rant. We talked earlier in the show, that tweet, post on X, whatever you want to call it, from Pat McAfee, reminded me of Jerry Maguire and the mission statement before he leaves the agency that he was working at. And man, I got to be honest with you, Kevin, I haven't met a single Colts fan or heard from a single Colts fan who disagrees with anything that Pat McAfee had to say.
Yeah, I was nodding my head at certainly a lot of it. And, I think there's a general thought in there that is a big Chris Ballard core belief, and that is culture and locker room and, all those kind of buzzwords that Ballard loves to use. And, you could point to a variety of things, but if culture was so rich and the locker room was so sacred, this time last year, the Colts had 2 players suspended for multiple games during a playoff run. I mean, again, if your culture is this, unbelievable bond, that doesn't happen. Take the Anthony Richardson example this year for another kind of anecdote of, a year and a half in his career, all of a sudden, you feel like he's not meeting the standard that is, there for a quarterback or a captain. So boom, you're going to publicly humiliate him with the benching. Again, where is your locker room? Where are your leaders? Where are your captains? in the first year and a half of Richardson's career to define for him what that standard is, what needs to be met, and, for lack of a better phrase, kind of hold his hand through that process. So, certainly when those voices and, Marlon Jackson, had some comments yesterday on Wish TV, when guys like that, are so public, that has to, I think, get the ears of Jim Irsay. We know how he views and how deeply he loves his former players. And when, people he respects, go out of their way to share such candid comments, you would think that resonates with the owner.
You've worked in that building before. You used to be the writer over at Colts.com a number of years ago. How do you think Jim Irsay took it when he read that Pat McAfee tweet, assuming that he did?
Yeah, I'd pay a nice chunk of change, certainly, to watch Jim Irsay read that for the first time. I would think a ton of pent-up frustration. A lot of the comments I said probably to lead off. But I would also probably hope that's the case because, frankly, I think Jim Irsay has lied to his fan base here in recent years, and his, public praise of Chris Ballard and, calling him a blue chip GM when nothing on the resume would indicate that. And, there's a phrase of, kind of accepting mediocrity. Frankly, that would be a compliment to this Colts era under Ballard to even call it mediocre. I don't think it's achieved that. So, I probably have a question for Jim Irsay on what is the standard for your franchise, because right now you are in the worst playoff drought in his 30 plus years as, owner. When you look back at the, kind of mid 90s and transfer it to today, we're not used to 6 years out of the playoff win, 4 years without a playoff appearance. And remember, the playoff format increased by a team back in 2020. So there's actually more playoff teams nowadays than there, was kind of in those earlier years, or even going back to the 2000s. So those would all be questions that I have for the owner. Does he care enough to make a move? And I know it's kind of a big comment to make, but I've seen a lot of just resigned feelings from him and a refusal to kind of accept the truth in what really has gone and probably not gone well under Chris Ballard.
Chatting with Kevin Bowen from 107.5 The Fan, The Wake Up Call, the morning show over there. You bring up Jim Irsay, and I know we've talked about this on this segment before of where is he? It's very similar to what's going on at a national level in the White House where, yes, technically the name is in charge, but nobody really knows anything about the health, the status, where they're at. Because normally at this time, you would see at least Jim Irsay pull up on a golf cart. He might talk to Calabro or AC or somebody, on a golf cart and then get out of there. No one has seen him since that Dallas Clark Ring of Honor ceremony. And correct me if I'm wrong, Kevin, he was in a wheelchair at that point.
Yeah, it's the only time we've seen him all year. I actually went through his Twitter timeline. I think it was last week, maybe the week prior, and looked at when we've heard from him after wins versus losses. I think at the time we had heard from him after every win. I think we had only heard from him after a couple of losses this season. We've yet to hear from him on social as of you and I chatting about this. So, again, a lot of this goes back to, where is Jim Irsay? And, obviously a physical state is probably, a fair question, but also just kind of mentally and how he views his franchise. Again, under the worst playoff drought in 30 years. You really got to go back to the early 90s to see this. So, obviously this time last year, he was going through a whole lot, from a physical health standpoint. He had that run-in in early December, I think it was, with the cops having come out to his estate. So, the fact that we've only seen him really once since August, and again, I don't think we've gotten the road appearances or, even the home game stuff, and, the social media presence, I'd say, has been quieter than normal. All of it is very un-Irsay-like.
Right.
Certainly his daughters have a ton of day-to-day influence on what, happens, especially Carly, his oldest. But a decision like this to, decide the direction of the franchise, whether it be GM, head coach, et cetera, you would think would still come from him.
And listen, if the team just stinks, the team stinks. All right. We've all been around teams that stink at some point in our lives. It's kind of the secrecy here that's rubbing people the wrong way because the public is on the hook for that stadium. So I don't think it's asking too much here to just let us know, is Jim Irsay okay? And why is he so quiet all of a sudden? I think these are fair questions.
Yeah, and again, I'll go back to those comments. You know, we did hear him on preseason TV right before the season started in regards to Chris Ballard and calling him a blue chip GM. And, you know, when I say he's lying to his fan base, just take out that phrase. There's nothing on the Chris Ballard resume that would indicate this is a blue chip general manager, whether you want to look at no division titles, 1 playoff win, 2 playoff appearances, finishing right in the middle or, below that in the AFC. So, this gets back to the, you're pretty much, trying to misconstrue a totally different message that we all can see. We don't need, we all watch the game. We all certainly see the resume. There's nothing that would indicate that. You are just lying to us, trying to deceive us. However you want to phrase it, all of that is very, very accurate. And, even if you want to talk Irsay language, let's talk dollars and cents. Saturday, Hammer, will be the 10-year anniversary of the last home playoff game. 10 years since you've last hosted a home playoff game. We've had more swim meets. We've had more, NBA All-Star stuff
wow.
inside of Lucas Oil Stadium than we've had a home playoff game, and then go down the list.
Right.
The lack of primetime game, that your franchise has been awarded. I think the Colts are an afterthought on the national scale. And look at the crowds this season, whether it's the visiting fans in your building or the crowd we saw last week in Tennessee or we'll inevitably see on Sunday. People just aren't showing up. So even if you want to talk pockets and wallet and that sort of thing, I would think that would lead a normally, frustrated Irsay would call for that. But again, we haven't gotten that impression at all.
And that's the part of the McAfee rant that was the most interesting to me, was how he mentioned he was a season ticket holder and he won't be anymore. And man, you look at some of these damaged relationships. Let's be honest. There's a damaged relationship between the Colts and Peyton Manning. Now there's a damaged relationship between the Colts and Pat McAfee. This is bad, man. This is bad. Does this whole thing need to be just blown up?
Yeah, I would start here. When we talk a week from Monday, assuming we'll have some more chat, I guess, as the Colts season ends, Chris Ballard and Gus Bradley need to go. They have both, Gus Bradley, their defense coordinator, they've both been in their positions for long enough, and the results have not warranted, continued employment, in my opinion. I think you could have done this after 2022 for Chris Ballard. You could have done it after last season for Gus Bradley. But nonetheless, here we are. I would start there. And now, I'm a big believer in kind of you evaluate all these parties individually. I get that a lot of people like to tie the GM and the head coach together, and I'm probably one of those people. But, again, Shane Steichen, Anthony Richardson, those trickle-down dominoes, I'm not as gung-ho about, but certainly you have to start there. The philosophy from the top down of that organization needs a different voice, needs a different belief, and then especially defensively, which Ballard's had a big say in as well.
Do they need a new quarterback, Kevin?
Yeah, I am still of the belief that I'd like to see Anthony Richardson with the full offseason, but I think you also need to make another pretty notable quarterback move this coming offseason. What does Richardson look like with a full, healthy offseason? Can he make a stride or two? I'm not holding my breath, but I also don't think you're in a state right now as a franchise where there's an obvious alternative that's just crystal clear. Again, if somebody pops in the draft, by all means. And, a lot of this goes on again, who's your head coach, who's your GM, et cetera. But I still think there have been some moments with Richardson of, okay, he's 8-7 as a starter. Can you incrementally get him better as a player? Does that all of a sudden lead to something a little bit more? But massive growth is still needed from him, probably on and off the field.
What's coming up on the big show tomorrow?
The Patriots had a great win yesterday.
They did.
Stuff. Beating the defending champs. Actually won the season series against the Celtics. So we'll have Rick Carlisle join us 8 o'clock. They'll have their New Year's matinee game tomorrow. So they tend to play the New Year's Eve 3 o'clock game. So we'll see that tomorrow over at Gainbridge Fieldhouse. So Rick Carlisle will join us.
All right, my friend, have a great, safe New Year, and we will talk next Monday, and I feel like we may have some things to talk about.
Hammer cannot wait. Happy New Year, man.
The Hammer and Nigel Show.
After this hypnosis, I want to eat good food.
Since August, I can honestly say I have not had one potato chip.
It was life-changing for me.
And I don't think about desserts like I used to.
Bridget, how much have you lost now?
I had lost a total of 83 pounds.
Holy cow.
It's easy, it's fun, very relaxing, and very successful.
And I would just say go for it.
What are you waiting for? Join Mark Patrick Seminars and lose the weight or stop smoking guaranteed. Early bird special only $49.99. Hypnosis designed to destroy unwanted cravings, late night eating binges, boredom eating, stress eating. Seminar Thursday, January 23rd at the Holiday Inn Express and Suites, Indianapolis Northeast and Noblesville. Weight loss seminar 5:30, stop smoking seminar 8 p.m. Or Saturday, January 25th at the Holiday Inn Indianapolis Airport. Weight loss seminar 11 a.m., stop smoking seminar 2 p.m. Registration 30 minutes before. Sign up at markpatrickseminars.com. That's markpatrickseminars.com.
Pat Sullivan for the Michaelis Corporation. Talking with Richard Michaelis about foundations. What are signs of a foundation issue?
Cracks are bowing in your basement walls, uneven floors, or cracked brick? Call Michaelis for a free inspection. We are locally owned for almost 40 years. We offer a lifetime warranty and 0% down on foundation repairs.
Foundations, basements, and crawl spaces, life happens. Michaelis happens to help you through it. Call or text 844-FIX-INDY.
LD Smith Plumbing.
A dirty, stinking honest. Life is busy enough without plumbing problems. That's why you need an expert to fix it right the first time. Plumbing may not be pretty, but we're pretty darn good at it. And we'll always give you honest advice at a fair price. That's the LD Smith Plumbing Promise. Call today for $50 off any plumbing repair, big or small.
LD Smith Plumbing.
A dirty, stinking honest. A girl in Kenya dreams of becoming a doctor. An elder in Guatemala dreams of becoming part of a community. Reach out and change their world, and it will change your own. Unbound.org.
It's the Degenerates Next Door, a sports betting podcast for dudes.
Real dudes, not the fake Kardashian-looking like dudes you see on television doing this. The Degenerates Next Door. Download and subscribe today anywhere you get your podcast. Hey, Matt Baer, what's going on?
All right, Hammer, looking at the south side crash, westbound 465 at Arlington Avenue, blocking the left lane, causing stop-and-go traffic back to 74. Crash on the east side, 30th Street, east of Mithofer, that's at Sheffield. Also on the east side, please stay clear, 30th Street, west of Shadeland Avenue. Police are investigating an officer involved in a shooting in Harrison with more on that in WIBC News at 6:02. Traffic sponsored by Unbound.org. A girl in Kenya dreams of becoming a doctor. An elder in Guatemala dreams of being part of a community. Reach out and change their world, and it will change your own. Unbound.org. I'm Matt Baer. Follow us for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
Right now, we are looking at partly cloudy skies. It's 48 at the American Standard Heating Weather Center.
You're listening to the Hammer and Nigel Show.
So, Guy, your last WIBC show before the brand new year. Are you a resolutions guy? Do you got any things you want to do better in 2025?
You know, I don't get real formal about it, Jason. I don't like have a list or anything, but there are things I will reflect and I will say, all right, what did I screw up in this year that I want to do better on the next? And just the fact that you've had a little bit of a break. I mean, I'm not taking a lot of time off work here, but you get a little bit of a break around the holidays. And it gives you a chance to look back and reflect a little bit. Yeah, there's some things I'm gonna do different in the next year.
Again, Guy Relford's filling in for Big Nige. Again, all throughout the show, I think the big story locally is how bad the Colts situation is.
Yeah.
The loss to the Giants yesterday, what Pat McAfee put on Twitter, the chaos inside that building. It's a bleep show right now. And you're a big football guy.
I am.
Aside from the Colts, is there any other storyline out there, whether it be the playoffs or Saquon Barkley chasing down Eric Dickerson's record, anything move the needle for you? Or maybe it's college football. Are you into the playoffs still going on?
Oh, well, yeah. First of all, I got emotional about all the idiots out there saying that IU didn't deserve to be in the college football playoff. And I mean, come on. And we could spend a lot of time talking about that. They got 11 wins in the Big Ten and played both teams that were in the national championship game last year.
It's not IU's fault that Michigan and Washington were kind of ass this year.
You know what? They beat everybody in front of them and went in and competed. They absolutely deserve to be in it, and a lot of the talking heads and the idiots on social media notwithstanding. But a big thing for me is Saquon Barkley chasing Eric Dickerson's record. And listen, Eric Dickerson, obviously played here in Indianapolis. And I remember, I was involved. I got season tickets starting in 1984 when they moved here. I had awesome seats, man, row 13, 45-yard lines. I had those for 35 years. And when Eric Dickerson came to town, man, things changed.
Because he set that record when he was with the Rams.
He set the record when he was in the Rams, but he came in, and we were a different team. I mean, we won, even if it was only a partial season he was here, and it was a strike season, which we had some funny stories about earlier.
Right.
But we won the AFC East then. We got our ass handed to us in Cleveland in the playoff game. But then next year, the coolest, other than the AFC Championship game in the 2006 season, 2007, and when the Colts went on to win the Super Bowl, when we beat New England, other than that, the coolest game, and I've been to hundreds and hundreds of Colts games live all across the country, was the Halloween game in 1988.
That's right.
When Eric Dickerson had 4 touchdowns in the first half.
To put it on John Elway, who refused to play for the Colts upon
Yes,
being
and even
drafted.
though they were in Baltimore when he refused to play, still there was a grudge. And so they came in, and we had Eric Dickerson. At that time, a lot of people were saying he was the greatest running back in NFL history. I would dispute that, but anyway, and he has 4 touchdowns in the first half, and it's on Halloween on Monday Night Football, and so huge fan. That said, Saquon Barkley chasing his record. He needs exactly 101 yards in his last game.
A meaningless game, which he might not even play.
In. You know what? I've seen a lot of times when teams pull their players going into the playoffs, no, man. I say give that guy the record. I like Saquon Barkley. I'm not, even though I respect his accomplishments and I loved it when he did great things for the Colts, I'm not really a big Eric Dickerson fan. I saw the guy, especially in later years for the Colts, I saw him quit on runs. He'd run out of bounds early. I saw him quit in Cleveland when it was cold. Saquon Barkley's a good guy. I hope he absolutely breaks that record. I hope they let him play. I hope he breaks the record.
Top stories coming up next.
Hey, it's Rob. If you want to grow your hair back, check out the precision and accuracy of the Artist Robotic FUE at We Grow Hair Indie. You'll be amazed at the permanent natural results you can get and get back to work ASAP. Darren Andrews, Clinic Director of We Grow Hair Indie, is here to tell us more.
The Artist Robotic FUE hair transplant at We Grow Hair Indie, one of the most sophisticated hair transplant procedures available. The accuracy and the precision of the Artist Robotic FUE is what clients love the most. Get the results you want with our Artist FUE or multi-unit hair grafting procedure.
Don't wait. Call today and find out more about the Artist Robotic FUE at WeGrowHairIndie.com. Call 317-522-2995 for your hair evaluation. 317-522-2995 or go to WeGrowHairIndie.com and grow your hair back today.
Hey, Dad?
Yeah, bud?
I'm too afraid to tell him what I saw, what I sent, what I downloaded.
You can't help what you don't know. Tell the teens in your life. They can talk to you about what's happening online.
Hey, you can tell me anything, right?
Yeah, I know. We need to talk.
Learn more about online safety at InternetCrimesAgainstKids.com. A message from the Indiana Internet Crimes Against Children Task